Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Professor Broman, here with a T-Rex and a special guest who will introduce himself in a second. For our another Streaming 101 podcast, today we're going to be talking about developer relationships. And joining us is the lovely Andy.
Hi.
You wanna give everyone a little bit of information about who you are and what you do?
How's everybody doing today? My name is Andy Lunique. I am the lead for influencer relationships at Sandbox Strategies. We're a PR firm out of New York. We've got an office in San Francisco. We have clients all the way from Activision, Telltale, Trendy, right down to a lot of smaller indie developers. We also represent SteelSeries and one other company that I just realized I wasn't allowed to say.
So, nice. I'm glad you caught it and didn't.
Which one was it?
Which company?
Never know.
Yeah.
You just bleep right there. Just edit it.
Yeah, I mean, we could post edit it, but it is live. So if he talks right now, he's in trouble.
Not at all.
Can we get a Andy? If you're in chat, could you link your PR firm if that's something that you can do?
Absolutely. And a lot of people who are indie developers can reach out to us, things like that. But it's probably one of the best companies I've ever worked for in my life. They get it. They play games. They understand folks, and they've allowed me to literally run, develop, and really build this entire department. And it's been pretty fantastic since I started last year.
That is awesome. That's exciting to hear. One of the reasons why T-Rex and I wanted to bring Andy on is for me, at least in my experience, Andy was the first person on the developer side of anything that ever reached out to me. And I was really surprised. I think it was around when I had like 20 or 30,000 followers. Like my channel was so small. And this guy reached out to me and he had like a legitimate website that I was like, oh my God, like, this is what? And I met him at PAX and I was like, this is the coolest. And like, I didn't know how to handle myself, because I was so excited about finally getting a chance to work with a developer. And I tried to keep my calm. I tried to remember all of the things that I was told when I was like younger. Like, if you ever meet someone you're really excited to meet, just act normal and all this other stuff. But inside my head, I'm like, and I think, I don't know, for me, that was like the first, as a content creator, that was like the first hurdle to overcome, is that realizing no matter where anyone is in like the chain of command when it comes to like content creation, game design, even CEOs of game companies, everyone is a person, and understanding how to be a person with them is super important, because you're not going to build a relationship off of like this massive thirst, like give me free shit and give me information and give me the scoop. No, you're going to build a relationship off of being actual friends, which is both a huge positive and kind of scary on one side as well. Because what if someone doesn't like you? So that's my experience with Andy, and it's actually my first experience with a developer. What about you, Mr. T-Rex?
Me? Honestly, Andy was the first person I probably met in person and who I actually did a thing with, period. Still kind of the only thing I've ever done was that. But now, most recently is, I'll be doing the thing for Lawbreakers here soon. And also recently, we've been in contact with the folks with Activision for some Destiny stuff. Like, I've been sent some cool things. I was a part of the Red Bull promotion with them. That was really fun, by the way. We got like a big puzzle between 12 of us. Was it 12 or 24? I think it was 12.
It was a lot of people.
It was a lot of people. Yeah, we got flash
one.
drives. We had to assemble like a picture that more or less talked about the Red Bull event that they had in Destiny and stuff like that. But all I know is really it's nostalgic to me, because it was like the first thing where someone reached out to something that I did, and they're like, we want you to be part of something that we're doing. So I still have that flash drive, and I still have that letter for what I got that in the mail from them, because that was kind of important to me.
Yeah.
As kind of like look at what happened kind of thing. But that was probably the first set of stuff for me. Not really. I haven't done a lot of things. I mean, I've only been streaming for a year versus you. You've been doing it for much, much longer.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a while.
Mm-hmm. But I'm hoping, that in the future we can do a lot of cool stuff.
I certainly hope so. I mean, you guys talk about what it's like meeting us. It's actually pretty euphoric meeting you. And I say that because I have been, so to speak, schooling a whole lot of developers and publishers on what it's like to work with you. That's my job. It's my role to properly educate everybody about what your world is like. Reaching out to Ben originally, I was just like, holy crap, he said yeah.
Like, oh, really?
He's really going to talk to me? Because I've been afraid of the whole PR. There's a lot of, I mean, with respect, there's a lot of scumbags out there, and there's a lot of people who are, sharking like, oh yeah, we want to give you this, yada yada. I'm just like, I just need a conversation because I'm about to do some insane crap in the next year, and I need your advice, and I need to know how not to screw this up. And the fact that you even took the time to say, yeah, let's have a conversation. I'm probably doing the same thing. Like, you're like, oh my god, he's going to talk to me.
That's actually really interesting. Also, there's a term that okay, so this is chat for you guys. There's like a point of disconnect. I feel like when you start doing content creation, as far as like language, when it comes to how you view yourself and how a developer might view you. So like you're thinking about like you use like words like sponsorship or partner, and then developers like to use this word, and Andy said it like right at the beginning of the broadcast, influencer. So what caused like that term to become the focus, or like the point at which like you were like, this is the best word to describe what we're looking for these people to do for us? Because I'm actually really curious about that.
The term influencer has been around for much longer than most people think. And right now, the marketing speak is being tossed around like, oh, influencers here, influencers there. However, they're describing a group of people who are, whether they're at the celebrity level or they have a very, very large following in any capacity, whether that be Snapchat, social media, Twitter, social media, Twitch, YouTube. They have the ability to push buying decisions. They have the ability to affect personalities around particular products. They have the ability to move mountains. And there are some people out there, you're well aware that you holding something on camera for 2 minutes will send people to that website. You're an influencer in my eyes primarily because the amount of things that you have the ability to influence in anyone's behavior or decisions, whether is there positive or negative about it, it is absolutely the number one way I can describe you. Because right now, I mean, I'm looking at you. You've got headphones, green screens, chairs, microphones. If you had a certain hoodie on, if you had a drink in your hand, all of that is glowing to other companies. I mean, I don't want to turn people into NASCAR, but they look at you as folks who have the ability to push product.
There's potential.
No, I understand.
There's a lot of potential. I mean, we've had influencers through Instagram for a long time. There's Instagram models. We know that. We've had YouTube influencers who get paid for promotions. And some people where it's kind of under the table. I'll get to that later. But there's a lot of,
shit. This is good. This is going to be a good podcast, guys.
I feel like I'm going to learn during this podcast.
I feel like I'm going to learn too.
Intention of telling you guys exactly how the process works of when a company goes, hey, I want this to appear here, and how it works out, because that's not NDA. That's absolutely public information. And
sure,
just most people aren't aware of how it happens. And if you guys had any idea how badly so many people want to work with you, and this is outside of Twitch, this is even outside of YouTube, if you have the ability to kind of push people into particular, even just frames of thinking, it doesn't have to be a product or a sale. It could be politically related. It could be technology related. It could be a thought process. They look at you.
You saying I can get sponsored?
Yo, you're saying
you're saying Donald Trump wants to pay me is what I'm hearing.
I'm hearing.
Is that what I'm hearing?
That as a bald man,
he can give me a bald eagle to come into my stream,
and I could get myself some cake. Like, yo, Trump, I'll wear that toupee and lie like it's my real hair too. Just buy me a house. Like, is this what we're?
I feel like he could do that.
Probably thinking of. I bet you anything, someone's probably thinking about that.
Man, I do wonder if there's like the one person like in a campaign office for like whoever, like let's say like 10 years from now, who's like, man, who's just thinking to himself,
this Twitch thing.
We really like we really need to get PewDiePie on our ballot. Okay, we really need to.
We need him to back us.
Right. If we don't, we're done. We're done in the gaming division.
Well,
all right.
Interesting
swing vote this year.
Interestingly enough,
wait, guys, hold on 30 seconds. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Oh, it's fine.
He has to poop.
He's got to do a thing. But I mean, we can continue this. Interestingly enough, and this was Twaz. Thank you for the raid, guys, and Gunny, thank you as well. I did see it. I said thanks in chat. I was trying not to recording. But interestingly enough, there was a tweet and a video that Mashable did about Twitch. Did you see that, T-Rex?
Yes.
Yeah, where they interviewed. Yeah. And there was a really resounding quote in there, and I think it kind of touches on where Andy's talking about it as an influencer. When Andy talks about an influencer, we kind of think of Twitch, at least me, until I watched this video, I thought of Twitch as, it's just this weird thing. But they said in the quote for the video on Mashable that, you know, if you love cooking, you watch the cooking channel. If you love to make things, you watch the do-it-yourself channel, or you watch, how it's made. You watch those things. And if you love games, you watch Twitch. And or YouTube. And so, you know, that was like 2 days ago for me. I've been doing this for 3 years. And that was the first time I was really like, oh, I understand now what I do. That's good. So yeah, I think so we can finish up like the history portion moving forward. So Andy was my first contact with any developer. And he was pretty much my only contact with any developer for a really long time until I started streaming Destiny. And then I got the opportunity to work with Bungie and go out there to do like a reveal with them and like a community focus thing as well. And that was really nuts. My experience with that was they reached out to me and they were like, hey, listen, you're doing things. Do you want to do a thing with us? And I was like, sure, let's do things. When I got my first contact, when I first talked with them, I had no idea what I was even agreeing to. Like it was really just kind of like a hey buddy,
nice.
What's that? You want to? Hey man, common. What's going on? And I was like, what do you want? Yeah, of course I want to work with you. You make the game that I play, so let's talk. And then it turned into the whole, like I went up there for the House of Wolves reveal and they brought in a whole bunch of other people for that one. And then for the Taken King reveal as well. Honestly, from what I've seen, Bungie and I guess Activision, because that's who I worked through for a lot of the Bungie stuff. Activision has been, at least on the Destiny side of things, extremely proactive with trying to incorporate content creators as part of their PR push team. So for the Twitch stuff, they brought in Twitch people for the live streams on Twitch. So, you know, people like me and Triple Rec and Goth and Laced Up Lauren. And, and then they also they also had YouTube days where they would bring all these YouTubers out to record exclusive content that was available for the next DLC. And they had all this content released together using, non-disclosure agreements and stuff to make sure nobody was going to be like, I got it out first.
Yep.
I'm the best. I get all the views, and now I ruined my relationship.
Nice.
For the record, we hate you.
Yeah.
I think everyone does. Honestly,
everyone hates that guy.
Influencers hate you. The people who follow the rules hate you. I hate you. Like everything.
I'll make sure Supreme Judge hates you too. Just give me a few couple.
And so in my mind, I guess I've had both really good and really bad experiences with developers. Bungie being like the shining example of like, this is thumbs up, super great. We want to try and bring you in. We trust you. We want you to be part of the team. And back when I used to stream Borderlands, it was the exact opposite. I wasn't even deemed worthy enough to go record any footage for the pre-sequel when Borderlands pre-sequel was about to release. I wasn't even allowed to. And my two friends that were allowed to record exactly 1 hour only in one location that they completely controlled with two guys standing behind them, making sure they didn't do anything that they were supposed to do. They weren't supposed to do.
That is heavy-handed, man.
Yeah, man. So those are my two like, I guess, like end point experiences with developers. What do you have to say about both of those things, Andy? I'm curious.
Okay, I mean, first
low.
off, a particular campaign like that, when devs, PR, I mean, anybody who's doing a push like that, you've got folks at YouTube who are going to create content. You want all the content to go at the same time. It's also why we like to have as many streamers as possible, or a core group of streamers possible, playing the game all at the same time, because it pushes it up the wall. You want people to see it. The fact that you had those two very different experiences tells me a lot. Because I've, I'm not going to tell all the dark stories, but I've heard about particular developers who are just like literally going to break a finger if you step one toe out of line. And then there's people like me who are a lot more lax. I'm so sorry that you had that experience.
I mean, it happens.
I don't believe in that kind of experience, because I feel like they're at that point they're treating you like a business and a machine and not a human being.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I try to differentiate myself from our competitors and other MCNs and things like that. I'm sorry, MCNs, multi-channel networks, cinemas and things like that. Yoxcast,
Polaris,
Polaris.
Okay, cool.
One. I try to work very different than other MCNs because I just view you differently. So I don't like that at all. Period. So I'm not trying to sell myself here, but I just can't. I can't work that way. You can't work that way, and people need to start learning that, because this is to let you organically talk about something that you love goes farther than having you injected with our message and then regurgitating it out. That's a waste of time, and it's a waste of money. Something
that I've actually noticed recently on Twitch and in general was that I feel like developers have a lot to gain by letting people be honest, because everyone likes to listen to, at least on the content creator side, like the people who are already excited about the game are only going to focus on the people who say good stuff. And the people that hate the game are going to focus more on the bad stuff. And personally, since I feel that you can't really control that dialogue, like the people who love something are going to love it, the people who hate it are going to hate it. The only real thing that you're doing is galvanizing people.
Both sides,
you galvanize your base, and you maybe galvanize people who dislike it, but all PR, all press is good press, right?
Right.
So if Angry Joe gets up there and makes a huge video that gets 1 billion views about how much he hates Destiny, it still makes people want to check out the game.
Exactly. And
Thanks,
I give Angry Joe major credit, because he's a content creator that he does not give a fuck. Right?
Yeah.
He just does not. But he's the kind of guy that has his followers. He proves my statement over and over again that it's about the content that you create and not the game you're playing. Because he has reviews out 2 weeks sometimes after a game comes out, and people are still all over it.
Exactly.
50% of most people who watch reviews or read reviews aren't really making a buying decision. They're making a validation comment, about it. They want to go, I made the right decision, and this reviewer just told me that.
That's a really strong point. People are looking to validate their already existing opinions about something.
I feel the opposite about Twitch. Like YouTube, I totally get that, because that's something I can go and click and I can find. But if I don't want a validation, let's say I want to know more about the game, or to see, I just want to see gameplay or talk to people about it, that seems to be the most common thing on Twitch. Most recently, I'm playing a lot of different stuff, because Fallout 4 came out and I was Fallout 4. Been playing Xenoblade, but most common questions I see in chat about the game itself and buying it or not buying it isn't I have this game too. It's, should I buy this game? That seems to be much more of a I guess a harsh.
Hey, I don't have a Wii U. Should I buy it from Mario Maker?
Those questions are in the chat all the time.
No, all the time. Hey, I don't got a PS4. Should I buy it to play Destiny? And I'll tell you as the guy here, I fucking hate that question. I'm I don't know if I can tell you I don't know your personal preferences enough to tell you whether or not you should spend $500 to hook yourself the hell up.
All I can tell you is what I like and don't like about it.
Exactly.
Thank you. You don't
I'm not
full circle you told me to buy this, you ruined my life. What?
Yo, you cost me $400. You gonna pay what you owe, son. You gonna pay what you owe.
I used to make recommendations to people to buy games, and I'd have folks come back later and be like, "I'm gonna kill you," and I'm I didn't do anything. I spent $20 on sale, and you're gonna die, and it was terrible. I was I'm so sorry. It was the Steam sale, and I thought you didn't need those $20, and I needed to buy Doritos. I'm sorry. It was bad.
But that point right there by Spam's MLG Pro Strats, I bought Destiny because a Twitch streamer's playing because it looked awesome. Like that is also a
There's
very
that,
common
too.
thing too, especially because we play Destiny so much. I guess because we've had so much exposure over a longer period of time to people playing it or with us or watching us play it. That's a very common thing. Is like, I stopped playing Destiny and I picked it back up, or you know what, I went and picked it up and I have a fire team and I claim.
And I've had the same experience for people who are like saying like, I don't feel like I need to play Destiny
because
I get to experience the game through you.
Yeah.
Indeed. And there's as somebody I spend an average about 2 to 3 hours on Twitch daily, minimum.
Same.
Have just watching. I have a lot of reasons why I'm there, but when it comes to why a developer, for example, wants you, there is a lot going on. Because let's just say, there's a lot of reasons why we want those games being broadcast at all times, because there's a lot of reasons why it needs to be shown up. From H1Z1, which is also Daybreak is one of our clients as well, right down to Darkest Dungeon. Those games lived in two very different worlds, but Darkest Dungeon kicked ass because of Twitch, and no one's gonna knock that, And we've had a couple.
That's true.
Other
It was
games,
huge when people were getting early access to that. Everyone was like, "What's this game? Can I get it?"
Yeah, everyone
people
from Main
were
Menu was playing.
thirsty.
I saw a lot of other folks playing it as well. It just was like, for the sake of, I don't know a better way to put it, but it was just like the hot game on Twitch. If you were like looking for something different that wasn't a game that you like, not a AAA title, I guess. So I don't even think the term indie hit makes sense either, because it was but like that circumstance I feel like happens often, to where there's like I saw Lyric play this, and you see like 50 broadcasts just out of nowhere. Everyone's playing the same thing. It's great, to be honest, because you get to see like maybe your favorite broadcaster play something different, but it's a very common thing, it seems like, nowadays too.
But see, the thing is, though, and I just want to speak on this if it's the time to, but there are two sides of this equation, because we have the people, the developers and PR guys who are just like, we know who should be playing this game. And then there's people who are out there who are saying, we need someone to play this game because they see influencers as the free marketing button. It's like, if you guys play this, it'll blow up. If PewDiePie plays my game, and it's just like, stop it. And I ram it down people's throats. Stop that mentality. You on Twitch have the ability to reach an audience so dedicated to that brand or that genre that you have to be able to take the time to find the players who connect to those genres and those audiences. If you have, I'll use you guys for an example, okay? The last effing game I'm going to approach you with is an MMO.
Oh, really? I mean, well, yeah, no. I mean, T-Rex and I would be bad choices because MMOs are heavy time investments, and we probably wouldn't be able to put in enough time to show off. If
it was good, I probably would.
Actually, that's the difference between me and T-Rex is that I like being like comfortable. Like learning how to broadcast a new game is really difficult for me because like I have some learning disabilities. Dyslexia is part of my life. So any game I have to really commit to a game to say that I need to be able to know enough about this game to put it on like the back burner in my brain and run it like a background program while I focus on reading chat.
I'm a really good DPS.
Whereas like T-Rex is an amazing player at a lot of games. He doesn't have any sort of inhibitions like that.
Fighting games.
He's not good at fighting games.
I am.
Too many buttons.
Too many buttons, too fast. But like T-Rex, would be. I mean, he might be a better choice for that. But I definitely see what you're trying to say is that
no, I totally get it.
You need to match a broadcaster with a game, or a YouTube content creator with a game,
an influencer
that fits them, so they can influence
exactly
appropriately. I understand,
and it's amazing
how to PR.
A lot of people think that if you just pay X person this amount of money, they'll get your views. And, I'm not sure if I'm about to drop some news here, but yes, there are a lot of high tier influencers on YouTube and Twitch who are paid by the hour or by the day to play particular games. Some of those games don't fit with them whatsoever. Sometimes it fails miserably. Sometimes it is extremely successful. But we're in this world where people think that they have to pay big money just to make sure you guys are playing certain games. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You guys deserve to make some cash. But it's when that moment is like, we're just going to throw cash at you and you don't take the time to pick the right influencers, that's when I get angry. Because there are some people out there who have communities that are trying to hunt down your game. They want it so badly. They're ready to go. And then somebody, and I'm not mentioning streamers' names on purpose, somebody in the, in the high pantheon of streamers gets paid to do so. They get all the exposure, they get all the hype, and I'm like, you could have done so much good work right there with that influencer. And it drives me out of my mind when I think that this target was perfect. They could have gotten paid a quarter of the price. They could have gotten a huge growth. They'd be really strong on Twitch. It's a relationship that's not being built. That's the education I'm trying to share, that you're a developer. You have the ability to send a tweet, hey, you with the game, let's talk.
Yeah.
And you have the ability to do that. You just they don't take the time. And that's why our firm exists, because I'm building those relationships. They want a lot of recommendations. Like, I do have the ability to make a recommendation, like, all right, okay, Discord, for example, talk to these 20 people. They're where you need to start. Okay, Activision, these are these 15 people. They make the most sense. Let's target them. Like for Transformers, you know what I mean? Like, we had some people who were local. They were Transformers fans. They were freaking fanatics. They loved the toys. And I happened to know that. And I was like, hey, you want to come to New York and play it now? They're like, yeah. Yes.
I got you.
Like, and it was easy, but it was like, you guys love this product. And no, it was not paid. It was just like casual. And let's run the channel the way you want to. We talked to the developers saying, hey, we can show this much footage. Okay. We brought the developer here with us. We had a casual conversation. They did whatever they want to do with the video, and we're good. Like, why does it need to be this really long, drawn out, super detailed, high focus, tailored experience when it comes to Twitch, when we've been doing that with YouTube and it's been met with less and less success, in my opinion?
I got you. So to kind of come back to the point, because some people in chat were like, yo, you interrupted him. But we were excited. What exactly, when you are looking to kind of match a content creator with a game?
Say that again?
When you're trying to match a content creator with a game or an influencer with a game, what are sort of the key factors that you look for? Like you said, you wouldn't match me and T-Rex up with an MMO.
Yeah, a particular MMO.
Are you trying to, when you're looking to match people up, are you trying to match people up based off of what they usually play, what their audience is made out of? Like, what are the considerations there?
Disclaimer, I want to make sure you all know that this is my personal approach, and I have found it to be very effective. However, this is not how everyone thinks. Just want to make sure we all know that.
We say that on the podcast all the time. Everyone on here is sharing their opinion. It is not an end-all be-all of knowledge. It is totally someone's opinion. Yeah, so go right ahead. You are fine. You are covered.
When I look at someone's channel, I look at a few things. The basics is actually their consistency. Like, are you here? Because there's some people who have partnerships on Twitch right now that are like, oh, I guess I'll stream this day or whatever. So they're not taking it as seriously as I need them to. That's number one. So it instantly kind of makes you
presence.
So presence on Twitch and social media is important, because you need to have a bit of a presence about what's going on. Number two is the titles that you've played in the last 6 months. I actually don't go by recent. I go by everything. So if you've only played a single game, I'm uncomfortable approaching you, because it's going to mess with your audience if you switch all of a sudden. And I don't want to kind of, disrupt it. It doesn't really make sense if you only played H1Z1 for the last 7 months. Next, look at your concurrent viewership. And that's when I start hunting down your stream. And when I say I look at your chat and concurrent viewership, is because I want to see if you're botting, first of all. I want to see if people engage. I want to see if people give a damn about you. Or if you just have this chat that just does nothing the whole time for hours on end. Like, no one's talking, no one's engaging, you're not talking, you're not engaging. You could care less about the game, how negative and how positive you are. I look at all this before I even consider whether or not this game is good for you. So once I have the fact that I even want to work with this person, then I look at the titles, because I work with 10 titles at a time. Like, any given person, I might want to approach them with 4 games or just 1. I have people on reserve for games that I want to work with them in the future, but it's just not the right time right now. So then I look at the games that they play, what makes sense. And then when I'm building the PR plan for our clients, I go, we can do this kind of promotion. We're going to bring them to the studio. We're going to give them early, B-roll. Or we're going to be like, hey, let's just give them the game and go to town, tear it apart, do certain things. Every single plan changes based on the game. So that's what I'm looking at when I look at a particular broadcaster. But really, their Twitch presence and their community is first. It's absolutely first. Because I have maybe 10 people off the top of my head that I can say probably sit at 200,000 followers, 200 concurrent viewers. I'll never speak to them. And it's nothing in offense to them. It's just not going to work with anything that I have.
So So as a PR move, that's a bad buy, essentially.
I think so. And this is not me talking about like, oh, PR can't work with this guy. I'm thinking about my client.
That makes sense.
Sure.
I mean, that makes
Yeah, I mean, you have to look out for their best interests too.
Correct.
Obviously.
Because they don't need to be attached to the wrong person. I mean, let's just be. I mean, we've had some really weird things happen where there are some particularly open characters on Twitter who like to post particular photos, letting it all hang out, and they'll tag a developer or a game saying they're going to be playing it. And in that moment, you're just like, "What do we do?"
So,
you know,
so let me
that happens, and and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just at that point when you're going, you need to make a decision about how you feel about this person, because are you going to build a relationship or are you going to stay away? That's a really extreme example, by the way.
No,
sure.
I'm using a really extreme example, but it goes down.
Don't flash your wang when you're trying to talk to developers.
Like,
I gotta make a note of that.
It goes back to people, like,
phone.
who might be, let's just say they're a really big, Xbox fanatics. Like, if you're an all Xbox channel, I'm not going to poke you for Uncharted. It's disrespectful to you because it just proves that I didn't do my research about you. It makes me look lazy. Like, I hate doing that, and I hate anybody who puts, I do have some of our clients who come to us, say, hey, we'd like to work with these 10 people, and they may know some of them, they may not, but I look at the list and I'm like, where the hell did you get this list? Social Blade? Like, did you go to Social Blade and
let's pick to the top 10 then as
well. Top 10.
And
get these guys at the top 10. It's fine.
It just shows you that you weren't thinking about it. To anybody.
You brought up two things, and I want to I thought it was really interesting because at least on your approach, you consider things that I feel like people just assume when it comes to developer relationships are ignored. One is that you mentioned overall attitude, and two, you mentioned view botting. So those are two things we've brought up on previous broadcasts that I'd really like you to touch on. So when you're looking at someone, when you're looking at the way they interact with their chat or how interactive they are with their chat, when you see somebody, how do you determine whether or not they're positive? Like, what sort of attributes are you looking for? Like, on a real, like, we got to start from the bottom and build up.
Right. Well, again, I don't need a cheerleader the whole time. And they're like,
yeah,
great.
This is the best.
I just see the gradual engagement. Towley is an extremely different broadcaster, and when he plays, he still swears and talks about certain things, but he's still a cool dude. You use language in your streams. That's not it
I
at
swear
all.
a lot.
Yeah, and I don't really care. And people think, oh, developers don't people swear. It's like, no, that's not it. You got to look up for the people who are just like, oh, this freaking sucks. This is crap as hell. Why the hell would I buy this game? It's that language that's just like, you're not helping anybody at all. Developers can take a hit. They're big boys. They can take, if there's something wrong with your game, they can take that. It's the outright negativity towards every aspect. The people who are being outright jackasses to their chat is also a big deal.
Oh yeah.
Gotcha. Like it's like, oh, well, you can F right off and get the hell out of my chat, yada yada. Why do I want to work with you? Because I don't know what you're going to do. And if people are associating a poor broadcaster with our game, why would we give you exclusive access to anything? No one wants to be around you. And after that, when it comes down to, again, engagement is a big thing. Let's just get out of all the language and how you are. Engagement. This is an entertainment platform. If you are staring at the screen for 2 straight hours, barely talking or just kind of laughing, haha, and people are talking amongst themselves, I'm not really excited about that. The game might get views. The game might get exposure. What if there's
this is, you're going to help break a lot of stereotypes. So I'm going to ask really specific questions. What if there's 20,000 people watching, but you're not talking?
Oh my fucking God.
There's 20,000 people watching you play X game, but you're not saying shit about it.
There are only a handful of games on Twitch that have those particular broadcasters, and I still avoid them. I know why people are in that chat. And if you're not okay, by the way, just so we're clear, if it's during a cutscene, shut the hell up. But just joking. If you're really there, I feel like I'm not stereotyping, but I feel a lot of esports level broadcasters are that way. People who are just kind of focusing and things like that, but even they tend to talk. If you are the kind of broadcast, I really don't believe that anybody is out there with that many viewers and not providing some kind of entertainment, because sometimes
Sure.
at the high profile
absolutely
play, they're dead silent.
So would you?
But that's a very different type of influence.
Yeah, it's a very
like
different
that's that person, and to not once it's not insulting. That is in my opinion, a good billboard. Those are you see a lot of those streams having a lot of things on their layouts.
NASCAR earlier,
yeah, because that's just it's a great place for it to where. That they typically also don't have like a face cam, so you see people playing like top end Hearthstone or like top end CS:GO, all that kind of stuff. You may see things they're still like really clean and nice, but you're not seeing a lot of interaction because they're there exclusively for the gameplay,
for skill,
and there may be some things that fit for that, but for the most part, yeah, if you're trying to run something for PR for a brand new game coming out and you're trying to build an excitement, you probably want someone who's more charismatic.
Exactly.
Just someone who's great at video games.
If you're somebody who's sitting there playing like the Counter-Strike players, or it's where I see the biggest like highs and lows everywhere. It's so confusing. But the really low points where I was like, oh, there's 200 viewers in chat. One guy spoke. 10 minutes later, another guy spoke. They haven't said anything. Oh, yeah, whatever. Oh, thank you. And the donations. Like I see the donations popping up. Oh, thank you. Oh, thanks for the sub, yada yada. It's just like, yeah, like there's, and this is this is where I change my mind about everything. There's way too much good talent out there for me to waste my time. I'm sorry. I would rather see somebody blow up because of a game that we help them out with. It's what I really want to make sure that happens one day. I would love to know that one of our games helps someone blow up. That would make me so fucking happy.
So sorry, like before we get too far like off of all this, just to touch on it like one final time, because I feel like it's so important, and I know you might feel like I'm badgering you, but I want to nail it into people's heads because this is such a huge misconception, and you actually blew my mind a little bit with this. So you would say when you are looking for people higher than you ranked them higher when you were listing them. Higher than someone's concurrent viewership, you were looking for someone who interacts and for someone who is positive. Like yes or no. Real simple yes or no answer, just so people can't get confused.
It is a yes.
There you go.
You put more than just yes there. You said it is a yes.
No, I for me personally, that really we need to have you back on.
Restart.
That really, like, honestly, for me, I will tell you that really destroys a lot of misconceptions that I have. And I know that what you're talking about with us is your approach. But, for me, I always felt like developers don't give a shit. They just want to work with the people who get the most viewers. You want to work with the people who get the most visibility for your product, because that's what they do on YouTube. And I feel like they approach Twitch the same way, and they don't take into consideration personality. They don't take into consideration, individual interaction or focus on community. And they don't take into consideration whether or not people are there to see the game or if people are there to see the person.
In defense, and just to speaking on behalf of the industry, as I've understood it, and man, have I recently understood it, some developers just don't get it. Like some publishers, even at the very top, they just go, I don't get this. I don't know where we should go. Help. I have knocked down, torn apart, ripped apart so many plans of people where they wanted to go, kind of going, you're dead wrong. And it's not because it was in a negative way. It's just like you'll destroy your reputation even, before you start. Mm-hmm. There are some developers that get it, and they're the ones who say, we know what we want to do. And that level of just understanding it is what we're trying to, this is where everyone's trying to bridge the gap. MCNs are trying to do it. I'm trying to do it. There are some developers out there who really get it. I'll say it out here. I think Ubisoft really gets it. I think, watching the raid, I think I was at home. I was racing home to finish the Taken King raid. We had people at our office watching you, dude. Like we were just like kind of done. Like this is amazing. I knew the guys over at Bungie were watching. I knew guys at Activision were watching. That experience, that moment, is freaking history, man. Like, I loved every second of that.
It's
like,
great knowing that during that time, though, that the one thing I'll be remembered for is freaking out when I first saw Oryx. That's
great. It's great.
That's my contribution to Destiny's history.
But so I guess for me, the big takeaway, people who are listening, like right now, whatever point in the future is, if you are a newer streamer and you are discouraged and you are feeling the way that I felt in the past, sure, some developers, like Andy said, don't get it. And they are going to focus on, you're not big enough for me to care about. But there are still developers and there are still people that are going to look at you and they're going to think things like what Andy said, which is, I would love it if this person's channel blew up because they were the perfect fit for our game.
I have another question on
awesome.
Top of that too.
That is awesome.
I sincerely mean it. I hope you don't think I'm being like, Mr. P there, but
guys, you should know that we've known Andy for a while, and if he was bullshitting you, we'd be ripping him apart right now.
That would never happen.
There were some people who did our Dreadnought stream at PAX, which, Gray Box for Dreadnought, those are a group of people who got it real early.
Yeah, they did. That was,
Like, there are people who gained even 100, 150 followers, jumped on the front page because of Dreadnought at one point in time. I see that as a win.
Mm-hmm. The only point with the Dreadnought thing was I learned that when I did that, I was like, I like my space. I think that's what I learned the most out of the Dreadnought stream was how used to like my setup was and how it feels so foreign doing that like in a very big space, like without like that was. I hope I can do better in the future, but like that was just like a huge shock to me.
It's a tough one.
It
took us 2 days to set that up.
I do have a question though on top of those things to kind of put a finer point into it as well. When I was at PAX South last year, very first one, Blizzard through their Twitch partner mixer that was there for Heroes of the Storm, there was two guys there. I think it was I forget their names because they never got back to me. So oh well, it's irrelevant. I have their business card numbers, but basically I think it was let's call them Mike and John. Mike and John were both there. One was for Heroes of the Storm, one was for Overwatch. They were two of the PR people that were working with them. They were at the party, and they just wanted to talk to streamers. And basically, Blizzard, first thing they said is, mirrors what you said earlier, they just didn't know how to talk to streamers. Apparently, that was a thing they just didn't. They don't know. They don't know what we are looking for. And I was like, wait, what? That was kind of weird to hear.
It's
but on top of that,
true. It's absolutely true.
Mm-hmm. When I was speaking with, it was myself and Tangent Gaming, and then I think it was Mike or John, one of the two. Essentially, we both mirrored was yes, you can go after your lyrics, your man versus games. You're really top tier, good entertainers who are fantastic. Professor Broman, sure, but this was
I'm fucking with
you. We were both much smaller at PAX South then.
No, it's true. No, it's true.
But I was like, I feel like at the end of the day, the people who are going to work with you, like everything 100% without just being like, I'm not trying to shoot anybody down, but like who will really work with you versus like you're just one of the fish in the bowl kind of thing. Is middle to smaller streamers who don't get a lot of opportunities, who are chomping at the bit, just like some devs are to help to work with some people. There are some fantastic influencers, as you say, who want the same thing. Do you feel the same way that like if you could choose between, let's say, both are positive, both have a great chat interaction, like they fit the first step for you? Would you choose like a middle to lower end, like if you only had one pick, or would you still go for the top end streamer who may not work as well because they're busy and they're large and they have a lot going on versus like the middle to smaller people? That's kind of a bigger question.
No, this is a big question that needs to be answered because it's one of those you guys don't really know. So I'm going to give you something that might bug you. ROI, return on investment, is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
There are PR guys out there.
He said the good word. I always think about that when I'm trying to do stuff on my stream. So no, it's a legitimate concern. I'm really excited.
Is buying this thing worth? Yeah, I get
it. It's.
Can you explain what ROI is? Just speak like
ROI. Yeah,
we always try and explain any acronyms or anything like base level. We're trying to keep it as 101 as possible. So ROI is what?
Return on investment.
All right, there you go.
There are a lot of marketing, PR, and developers out there who get money, who get time to produce results. And sometimes it's high risk, sometimes it's low risk. When you get a AAA game and you need to produce results, you need to get eyes on it, you need to get viewers, you can only take so many risks. So when you see people who have incredible reach, you're naturally going to migrate towards them first because it's the safe thing to do. It's what Twitch will sell to them. It's what YouTube will sell to them. It's what the MCNs will sell to them. And it's the safe thing to do, saying that if you get these 5 people for $25,000 to $40,000, $50,000, we'll get results, we'll get views. They don't necessarily need to get sales on the game. Mm-hmm. They just need to make sure, look, I did my job. I can walk away now. Okay? That's where the AAA space, those big guys, will instantly go straight to the top because that's what they know they'll get what they return. They don't necessarily know the best targets all the time. Like I said, some people, some developers know the best targets. Other people just go, please give me some numbers. Here's the money. Okay, handle this. Walk away. On the lower end, though, if you are going to target lower, mid-tier, or just go big wide casting, big wide net, then you're taking a risk of being ingenuine, especially if it's early access. You know, it's just like, okay, everyone can play our game. It's just like, well, you know, there are people who gain followers from early access. There are some people who want to work with you exclusively for certain pieces of information and content. So you got to make a decision every single time you're about to make a push for this, because the truth is, I know for a fact that most people feel better having the top tier folks instead of taking the time.
Yeah. Can I sorry, I didn't mean finish your point, and then I want to bring something up.
I just, I want to make sure it's clear that yes, there's money out there. Again, like, there money shows up on the table, and there are people who will play games that are outside their wheelhouse, or it could very well be in their wheelhouse, and they'll jump on it. They'll get the results, they'll get the views. The developer or the PR company has their results, and everyone walks away happy. It's a bubble that's going to pop because it pops in every other form of marketing too. I've seen this for years.
Yeah, I mean, if you mentioned all that, and there were questions in chat about indie developers, and it reminded me of an experience that I had, and I felt like it was really positive for me as a broadcaster, and it was positive for the game as well. And that was Crypt of the Necrodancer. I don't know if you paid any attention to that, Andy, when it was out on Twitch. Mm-hmm. But they had an event where they brought in a whole bunch of different broadcasters, varying sizes. And this was when my channel was very small, maybe 30,000 followers. I was in on it on my team of other Twitch streamers. There was Man vs. Game. Cody, Excessive Profanity was on there. I was on there. People from all sorts of different spectrums, and it was this huge advertising push to get people to play the game once a day for a week and try and basically post the high scores, and the team with the highest scores across all these categories won a certain amount of money for charity. And so in my mind, I felt like that was such a good way to push the game, because it didn't even seem, on that side of things, it didn't even seem disingenuous, because everyone, even if it wasn't what they usually played, me, was doing it for charity. And honestly, it made me, as a broadcaster, it offloaded a lot of this responsibility of like, why the fuck would you play this right now?
Yes.
This isn't Borderlands. Why are you playing some 2D fucking piece of shit with rhythm game and the punchies? Like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, yo, I'm playing this. I'm fighting with my team. We're trying to do this for charity. Yeah. And honestly, as a broadcaster, it made me check out a game that I wouldn't have usually checked out, because I'm like, charity, yes. And then for the and it made me try out the game. It made me broadcast the game, and it made me enjoy it more because it offloaded some pressure.
I think that's a fantastic idea, and I think I might have to take that a little bit further in the future.
You're welcome. I'll say 10%.
If you had any, I mean, you
10% of charity funds. Good job, Roman.
Yeah, that's so right.
Subtle. That's nice.
Screw you, kids.
Bro.
And for a lot of my moderators and regular viewers that are around, you'll see them chiming in chat. They'll say like, "I remembered that. I loved that. It made me buy the game."
Dude, I've jumped into other channels. Like, I remember the first time I ever noticed Gothalion playing anything but Destiny. The first time I did, it was when it was actually he played Mario Brothers 3. He was doing a tribute, you know.
Oh, when Kojima Kojima
like,
passed away.
Iwata, not Kojima.
Iwata, sorry,
We're still getting Silent Hills. It'll happen.
I'm gonna get murdered.
When I noticed that
on the YouTube,
I saw that, and I was just like, such props. First of all, it was just like I love seeing him play something else. I watched him a little bit more than I ever would. Not to knock him for any reason. I just don't, I watch. I'm not. Hope this isn't weird to say that, but if I watch Destiny, I'm usually watching you, or I'm watching YouTube for Destiny at all times. If anything, I might watch Geo, but I usually play with him sometimes. Like that's the most I want to do. So. Watching him play, I was like, I like seeing the change. It was unique. It was different. It was just kind of breaking out of the, the norm. And I like seeing that more often. And that's such a good point that you just made there. Like, it gave you a chance. It gave you. Sorry. It gave you like, try something different. And I wish there was more chances to do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry, I went a little bit tangent on that.
So. I get you. I mean,
that's what it's about. We're trying to kind of cover everything that we can from our experience with you.
So then to also
this is beneficial to me because I can't. I mean, it's not like I'm going to be like, here's all the dark secrets behind every single company. Shit, I'd love to say that out loud.
Be the whistleblower.
Oh, dude, I would love.
Hey guys, did you know that?
I'll give you asylum in my house. But it won't protect you.
And it's not like there's a lot of grimy stuff happening. I just think that it's time for change, and it doesn't start at your end. It starts at my end. It starts at the people who are just like, we take the time to recognize what you are as an influencer. Remember that you're human beings. You're people. If you get hit by a bus tomorrow morning, whatever promotion you had going on just went straight to hell.
It's true.
And people forget that all the time. They're just like, well, they look at you as a name, and you're not IGN, you're not GameSpot, you're not all these editorials that can back it up. If you go down, everything else goes down with you. But if you're in it, if everyone else is in it with you, we need to talk about it. Like, Twitter's been a perfect spot where I'll see someone tweet out about a certain game. It's like, hey, you need to talk to this person. Go. And developers are just like, oh, cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, okay, cool. Like they don't know where to go. I know we keep touching upon it, but granted, I hope it helps our business because I could use more help at my company doing this one. Like, we would love to connect more people, give you the breakdown. Like, I would rather have more education and consulting with my clients rather than saying, okay, I'll go get the streamers and go play the game. Like, I'd rather do it the other way around. It's like, you've got some power, let's use it. That's my opinion. If any company that got it this year, it was definitely Daybreak for H1Z1, having the invitational there. Having everyone out there just playing ridiculousness.
H1Z1 has done phenomenally on Twitch because of their approach. The one time that me and T-Rex and King Ithalian played that together, one of the first this is a sore memory. I'm the only person who doesn't have a dog in the fight about us playing this damn game a year ago. One of my strongest memories about that broadcasting experience was that within 30 minutes, one of the devs was in my chat helping me play the game and answering people's questions in chat. Let me add some effects for that. Answering questions in chat. Legitimately as a broadcaster, I would pay someone a ridiculous amount of money to answer every goddamn question I've ever seen in chat about whatever it is that I'm doing, because it gets so repetitive, and it eventually prevents my enjoyment of playing what I'm playing, because I'm an interactive broadcaster and I want people to understand what's going on. When they showed up and started answering questions in chat, I was like, oh my God, I can play the game right now. Yeah. And that was one of the, that and when I was playing Crypt of the Necrodancer, those were the only two times on Twitch when I played a new game and I was like, I can enjoy this game.
I think it's a fair request because I feel like, I know you were talking about how devs don't, you don't want them to feel like we are just names, we're actually people. I feel like that's the same thing with Twitch chat sometimes. I would say it's probably the minority that do it, but that, treat broadcast like a walking encyclopedia for whatever game they're playing. and versus being there to be entertained or to enjoy. They're there to just strangle every bit of information out of you, and like real
dictionary days. I call them
the worst.
dictionary days where I have to be a dictionary.
Like
and it's a super fun ruining day for a broadcaster.
Like, which is why it gets frustrating. When,
what are you doing right now? How do you get that ship?
Not only
What
that,
gun is that?
It turns early.
it turns this day where, oh my gosh, the patch is finally here. They fixed these 15 bugs and gave us these 10 new things. From me enjoying those things sometimes to, what about this? 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 What's that? I want to know about that. Why aren't you doing this with this person? Are you Satan? That last one was confusing. But like it's one of those things to where I feel like I have a very real threshold for like I can handle it, and then like I've been asked enough, and then it's just like where I'm just like now it turns into sass. That's how I handle it.
Sass.
So
I will answer incorrectly on purpose.
For the record, you're telling me how to do a portion of my job better because I had a particular promotion that I'm not happy with recently. If we had resources set aside for the right channels, saying we're gonna channel surf, we're gonna answer the questions that you need, we're going to be your moderators, you know who it is, it's all ahead of time. Mm-hmm. Hell, we'll just say maybe not ignore your chat totally. Let's just say you're sitting at 150,000 threshold, and we have chat going to your Skype. Instead, like, we want you to answer this question and we'll handle the rest. We want you to answer this question, we'll handle the rest. To give you that backup, it's a good thing. I would say it's more
giving us the freedom. That's how I feel about it. Mm-hmm. It's less about, not that I don't want to answer these questions or that I hate the people that ask them, but it's like, whenever you do X activity for a number of hours, sometimes it gets trying and then your frustrations start to build. But man, that would be amazing if like on patch days, can we like talk to Deej, be like, hey Deej, can you like assign your entire time to just show up and like every Twitch chat and every YouTube comment section just to answer stuff for like just that day?
Yeah. That's actually that is actually something I did not realize until right now that was so extremely helpful.
I didn't know. You guys are
literally changing the game on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
This is the conversations we're
That's why these dialogues are important.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah. Like because now I'm thinking about my next 3 fucking promotions. Like, well, shit. You should probably do that.
He just made his job super hard.
Just to answer this question though, real quick. Seems like the pain to success problems, no offense. First, I'm not offended, so you're good. But 2, that's every broadcast, man. Like, if you want to have, like, I remember being a smaller broadcaster with speed running, having less than 100 viewers, having less than 50 viewers, and it'd be the same thing. It's not just when you're large. It
doesn't have anything to do with size.
It doesn't have anything to do with size.
People are just curious.
I would say there's definitely, like, the threshold gets lower as you get larger, because you might have more of those questions. But that threshold, I would say, exists for most people when they're broadcasting. That there's definitely
50 people on the chat before. Yeah. Like, they're just kind of struggling.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I mean, that's the fantastic part about it. I mean, it's why I try really hard to have relationships with influencers, because I mean, there's streamers out there and probably Twitch employees and YouTube employees who don't agree with me, who won't agree with me, who probably straight up hate me. But this is how I want to work. Seriously, this is how I want to work. This is how I want to move forward, because I'm not looking at it the same way a lot of folks are. And maybe it's just maybe I'm being naive, or maybe I'm just being overbearing on it, but I'm vocal because it needs to change. We want information, and there's no there's no automatic formula for this. There's no one. If you have a document telling me how to do this the right way, you're full of crap. Or
we're all punching in the dark here, and I think I mean that's part of what we're doing on the broadcast here. Is like there are so many mediums. I mean, even YouTube at this point, with the rapid expansion of how information is exchanged, YouTube's a decade old. More than enough time for as a mass media form for it to figure out what it is. Mm-hmm. Twitch is young. 5 years if you start all the way back at Justin TV. If you start at the beginning of Twitch.tv, it's even less time. And if you start it when people finally started recognizing Twitch as a platform for communication, it's maybe 2 or 3 years. it's a very young medium and everyone is still trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
And for me, part of this entire conversation that I'm definitely enjoying is the fact that we are confused as shit. And it's nice to hear that on the developer side, people are still going like,
I don't know, like maybe give them a game and then they talk about it. And then if they talk about the game, we sell it.
boom, advertising. Like I feel like everyone is still trying to figure out what this thing is that we have here.
It's like the wild west still a little bit.
Yeah, it's undefined.
I love that you just used that because we've been using that same terminology to describe what it's like here. They literally the same words. It's the Wild West out
It's
here.
the truth.
That's
like
that's the internet in a nutshell. Like it's those whole things where like we don't know if this is like illegal or not because it's the internet and we don't have it like this, that, or the other. Like it's the exact same thing. Like I wonder. I'm not a history buff, so I wonder how many years the Wild West was actually like wild, so to speak. And like if the internet is still in such of its infancy that we are like 10, 20 years out from where it's going to be
true definition
more
of what it is,
manageable for people to not go insane when they're trying to figure it out, kind of thing.
And let me tell you guys, I have a responsibility to this industry now because I didn't start off thinking this way. It took time. It took education. I know that in the wrong hands, this will be exploited the wrong way. And I definitely want to make sure I'm kind of like a shield in a lot of ways. Like I don't want to screw this up. I tell people, if I'm giving the wrong information, if I'm doing something you don't like, if you don't like what I'm saying, call me out, email me, say something now, because we can't afford to let this go down the shitter. On top of that,
yeah, true.
The only way I can put it, but on top of that, my goal is to reach out, be farther reaching with more influencers. Twitch, I mean, right now we have people who are playing the piano, creative, video games, acting, cosplay, voice acting, all on Twitch. This is going to grow, just like YouTube grew. I want to be somebody who's able to say, here's the right way to approach, here are the best practices, here's who we should work with, here's who you should avoid, here's why you should avoid it. And I'm not going to get any better by kind of hiding in a closet saying we should do this. Okay, no one call me out on this, please.
Yeah. No, I definitely, I totally agree. We are definitely going to have you back. But for the sake of time, I want to try and start to sort of move towards a little bit more like a practical discussion.
There are some questions.
There are a lot of really good questions, and some of them fall along the line of things that we sort of had pre-prepared. I'm seeing some of them on Twitter already.
Before we do that, is there anything that you want to have like as a closing statement before we move into
absolutely.
Like anything that you wanted to say at the start that we didn't touch on, and we'll both shut up and you'll just be like, Andy time. So
Andy time, go.
It's just Andy time. Lightning round.
Okay. The only statement that I really need to make is actually, it's kind of talking to everybody at once. Everyone knows what this is becoming. We know there's money here. We know there's potential here. There are influencers who are going to fall off, and there are people who are going to grow in the next year. Half the people I see now, I may not see ever again, and half the developers who are out there might vanish as well. If you don't find the respect for each other now, you're all wasting your time. And if you don't figure out how much power both of you have, whether it's how many people you can reach on this game, and the developer knows we know exactly who we want playing this game, if you don't start believing in what you can do, stop streaming or stop making games because you're wasting everyone's time, or stop trying to work with influencers rather, because you don't get what Twitch and YouTube really is if you think that you're just going to hand it to them and you're going to make money. It's wrong. That's my final statement.
That was fucking epic. What is also the true meaning of Christmas? If you could also mention. Great.
Vengeance.
I was not expecting vengeance to be the true meaning of Christmas. That almost was bad. That burns.
That was
my
actually
sinuses.
Okay. So before we move on to like the more structured comments that we have, do you truly feel like folks are just not identifying the power that developers have, or the powers that streamers have? Like, do you really feel like people don't properly understand each other right now?
They're looking at each other through glass. Like
What
I don't
is-
know how to talk to you.
What breaks that barrier to you? Like in your mind, is there a simple set of things that breaks that barrier, or no? Okay. I just wanted to ask.
I totally understand. It's a complicated answer, but the way you start is just taking the time.
I got you for sure. For sure. So kind of moving forward away from the sort of like discussion aspect and onto more towards like the path for people to help understand.
Sure.
Because that is our goal here.
Seeking to understand.
How does so I would like to hear from your side of things the answer to both these questions. How does a content creator, a potential influencer, contact you properly, and how do you feel a developer properly contacts an influencer?
Thank you for answering asking that second question, because y'all need to learn. And I don't mean info.
I know you feel
You
strongly
gotta
about it.
tell
Yeah.
your friends about this podcast.
Yeah,
in
man.
the industry.
I actually recently did a podcast about the best ways to not just email developers and publishers, but to find them, because that information is not easy to come by. So, I definitely want to. There's a lot to do there, but number one, to properly contact developers and PR folks, do your Google homework. Know that the information's there. You can type in X game, X publisher, PR, press release. You're going to find something. Something's going to pop up. EA has an entire page saying, "Here's our press dudes. There's their emails." Stay professional. Stay not short. Stay short and sweet, but make sure the information's there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this is for anybody, no matter what side you're on. It's a lot more complicated, but I don't want to take an hour answering that question because it took an hour last time. Aside from that, let's just say the email route doesn't work. Twitter is a very powerful tool. Even I have helped out my fellow PR managers saying, we kind of need, to get a little bit more of an influencer push going. And I go, okay, here's your list. And I'll chime in sometimes. If I see you tweet out talk about a game, I go, hey, you need to talk to this guy. Get in. I'm okay doing that. We all help each other out all the time. It's really not. It's not uncommon knowledge to be like, yeah, you need to talk to this person because I know what you're going through. You probably need help. So that's a good. Twitter's a good way to go about it. But be respectful on Twitter because it lives there forever. You can find the right information. Email is always the best route. Even though your email might get shuffled into the 5,000 other emails that are in there, you got to keep pushing. Because they are looking for particular people. Sometimes it's not as easy. I have 100 emails in my inbox right now, and I'm on vacation technically. I don't
know that feel.
Yeah.
You
guys better respect Andy, because Andy is here when he is not working in any capacity whatsoever. He is spending his 100% free time with us because he's a fucking badass motherfucker.
Happy to do it. And finally,
that is the sentence of a badass motherfucker.
Community managers are your best friends. They're the ones who are there. It's in the title. They're there to help out. On the other side, developers who want to talk to influencers. Number one, and again, I want to give you guys props because this information came from you. This came from you saying yes back in November last year, saying yeah, I'll talk to you. This is exactly where all this information came. This was a learning process to me because I had somebody bitch me out, and I still feel bad about it. So the best way to go about speaking developers, PR folks, if you guys want to talk to influencers, step one is know the language. Okay. Know the influencers, know the difference between somebody who's going to be, just know the targets. And this is from YouTube right down to Twitch. Know that you're going to have a lot of weird names out there, but you need to respect the fact that they exist. Have some patience with them because I know a lot of your histories. I know a lot of your work experiences. I know how old some folks are. Recognize that you're probably dealing with the most diverse amount of people you'll probably ever work with. Like, I'm talking, like, I've had my girlfriend translating emails because there's been Brazilian YouTubers that I want to work with.
That's awesome.
I mean, I think that is, and just to sort of break you at this point before we get much further into it, from as a broadcaster trying to approach developers, it's like there are different levels of what you are as a business. And as a content creator, you are a singular person, or perhaps an LLC if you've got your head on straight. You are a
By
singular
January 1st.
person, T-Rex. You are a singular person trying to work with a gigantic corporation. Like, you're not even working with a company or it's like person, small business, company, corporation. You're talking about taking something that is two magnitudes above yourself and trying to focus it down on one person. And I can understand, and I've always understood, and that's what scared me. Even when I contacted you the first time, I was like, shit, man, this guy's working with like fucking Activision and shit. Like, Activision don't know what the fuck I am. I don't even know what Activision do other than make the games. Like,
That's what I said, Paul.
there's
Activision.
There's this huge gap. And as I have been afforded the great opportunity to work with companies on different scales, it's interesting how often they need an intermediary to relay information.
Yeah.
Between, like, I'm a company, I want to work with this singular person, but I don't know how to talk to people because I'm a company. How do I talk to one person? That shit's fucked up. Can you do it for me? Thanks. Now I'm less scared. Check yes or no.
That's
like,
what MCN's trying to do.
Yeah.
There are so many emails I get from people that are like, hey, man, I represent so-and-so at, like, do you want to work with us? Check yes or no. And I'm like, all right, or are you asking me to a Sadie Hawkins dance?
Right.
What is this shit?
Yeah, real talk about the whole developers. This is actually. Oh man,
It's insane. This is what MCNs had done. They tried to say, "Hey, come under our umbrella. We'll take care of the big bad wolf for you, and we'll take a giant cut of it as well."
the other folder in my Twitch PMs, there's inbox, sent, and then other. Typically isn't filled with people who I haven't talked to before. Typically, it's filled with people who are like, "Hey, I made this. Play it." Like, that's like, and I'm just like, is this a game? Is this music? What did you send me?
Exactly.
And then they're like, it's like before I even know who they are or what they're giving me, they're just like, it's like being commanded a little bit. And I'm just like, bitch, please, I will fight me. Like, it's just I have such a visceral reaction to where I honestly don't even respond to those because I'm like, you're not even worth my time. If you can't take a minute to even just like explain to me why we should work together, not even why, but just like what you would like to accomplish or what you want to, and why would I ever want to work with you? Like, that happens in my business email and in my Twitch PM box, to where I actually respond to pretty much everything I ever get, as long as it's like not nonsensical, even if it's a no, because I think they deserve a no if they gave me enough of their time to write something down that was, well worded and very kind. Yeah, I will absolutely tell you why maybe I can't work with you right now, and maybe in the future we can be guys together. Ooh, sidebar. Be careful who you piss off.
That goes for both sides.
Oh, absolutely.
It's true, man.
You don't know who knows who.
Everyone knows everyone. That's what I've accepted.
Just assume.
Everybody knows everyone. It's true.
Everyone has slept with everyone.
I mean, okay, it's a little off topic, but I feel like it needs to be said a little bit since we're talking about making people upset. I have a current company that I actually work with now, that the first time they approached me, they offended me so bad, I got on stream for a month, and basically I was like, listen, don't buy anything from them, buy something from their competitors. And that was, and you know what? It's fine. I love the guys now, because they reach out to me, they talk to me, they sent me products. Okay. They showed me a little bit of stuff. But the guys that scuff, the first time they contacted me, I was a much smaller channel and they didn't do it appropriately. And this isn't a knock on them. I love what they sent me. When I got a chance to try it out, I was like, this is great. And this isn't developer relationships. It's more like company relationships. But the first time they contacted me, they were like, hey, I'll send you a controller. We want an overlay on your screen. We want a discount code. We want to be on your Twitter. We want you to tweet about us 4 times a week. All this stuff. And I was like, you can blow that out your ass.
Even
I don't know you. I don't know you from anyone else in the entire universe. You're not trying to build a relationship with me as an individual, which goes back to the beginning of this conversation. You're trying to use me. You are 100% trying to use me, and you don't care about my opinion.
Sounds a little like he got bribed. No,
They approached me.
you misunderstand how business.
They approached me a year and a half later. They said, "Hey, bro, man, I know we've talked to you before, and maybe it didn't go the best. We want you to understand, why we feel like our products are good. We would like to send you some, and you can try them out and whatever." And honestly, it took me 3 weeks to respond to that email with anything but "fuck you." And I said, I literally responded with "fine," and then I sent my email address.
Yeah.
And they sent me the things, and then the things the controllers sat in a box in my streaming room for 2 months before I used them. And after I used them, I was like, oh shit, okay, I like these. Maybe I shouldn't have been so stubborn or whatever.
You know what? I'll go ahead and field this apparent question. I feel like will come up in either the YouTube comments, and I've seen it a little bit in the Twitch chat about, no matter what people are going to say. Let's say I get perfect example. I love these headphones. These are V-Moda M100s, and I was a part of V-Moda because I wore LP crossfades on stream for a long time. And coincidentally, during one of the days where I was doing a raid, I got raided by Goth and Broman, and I was high up on Twitch for a little bit. And I guess they saw, and I guess I had commented on them, and they reached out to me on Twitter, and they offered to send me some free stuff. I was like, oh, sure, why not? But I didn't tell anyone about that. And then I got them, and I was like, these are great. So of course I'm going to talk about it. That's not being bribed as much as I'm happy with this product I have. For example,
exactly.
If I've never used a Scott, but
no, I mean that, and I guess that's the point. Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt you, but
no. This
that's the point that I was trying to get to.
Yeah,
is that the reason I was bothered at the start was the way that I was approached, and what changed my mind was when I felt like I was allowed to make a decision as a human fucking being about whether or not I liked something, and then I was like, okay, I like this. Let's work together.
Yeah.
Now this leads to a really important question. This is going to be a work related question for me. If I send out emails, it's because you have accepted being on my press list. I might go wide sometimes, but I have a list of maybe 300-400 people where I'll just say, if there's a game coming out, I want you to know about it. But I don't send cold codes. I'd be like, hey, by the way, this is happening. Whether you or anyone you care about gives a damn, that's fine. It has to go back and forth. I can't just be like, yo, game's coming out, let me know if you want it. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's that straightforward. Like, hey, there's a list, there's a sheet for this game. I know most of you do want to get your information in there, but if you want to do something a little bit more than just play it, please reach out. Get in my inbox. It's totally okay doing that. Not every email needs to be complicated, but my question's about this. You guys are approached so often that we have to literally consider every relationship. I want to know you're getting emailed, you're getting approached by certain things. How do you want to be contacted? Is the cold email okay? Or do you want to have the back and forth? I'm going to hit you on Twitter. We're going to have a conversation. So you want to hop on a call? Because not everyone has that time. I know how much time you guys have. So, how do you want to go about these relationships in the future? I'd like to know more about how we should change some things. Because I want to make sure, I probably have made this mistake, but what are you guys thinking? How should it go?
You first, T-Rex.
I already have a response. Excellent. I know for me, I prefer, either is fine for me, because, I recently, I got cold emailed by the woman who runs she's a new hire, recent PR person for Square Enix. And he reached out to me, and I think quite a few other people as well. Because
she reached out to a lot of folks. Yeah,
was that Kat?
I forget her name.
Blue hair.
Like I said, I've never seen a picture of her.
That's a different person, but she's the UK side. This was the US side.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, there you go. See, Ben already knew. He's a better person than I. But she approached me and she was like, hey, I'm with Square, and I was hoping we could talk about some things, and then also I'd like to maybe get in your hands early access to Just Cause. I forget the second game, and then she was like Deus Ex, Mankind Divided. And first thing I was like, Mankind Divided. I was like, gimme. But I was like, great. See that to me, I can handle that. Versus like, hey, I work with Square stuff. Like it was well worded. I would absolutely prefer. This happened with who did it happen with? Oh, the V-Mode is a perfect example. To where I didn't get a cold email. They asked, they tweeted at me saying I was at the ballpark with Ben. We were seeing the Cardinals game. And they're like, hey, follow us back. We want to DM and talk. I was like, oh, cool. DM. Then she was like, hi, I'm so and so. How are you? I'm like, I'm great. Like that was cool as well. And I feel like I was definitely more comfortable having, getting to just have a couple questions and kind of just talking about whether it's their product or about what I do and what they do before just diving deep into like the business side. I would say that was definitely my preferred contact, but I'm not like turned off by a cold email as long as it's, not shitty. That's and I feel like that's not a very hard or dubious task.
Yeah, I feel like I wanted some time to gather my thoughts because I shared. I mean, the thing with Scuff was really personal for me, and anyone who's been on my channel for a long time knows, like my mom.
I mean, you sounded heated, and I would feel worse knowing that you were upset rather than you.
So like the thing, I think the primary thing, and I'm happy that we work together now because it shows that things can change over time. Like, I also feel that everyone fears that they can permanently ruin a relationship with one interaction, right? And I'm sure that I know that as a broadcaster, I felt that, and I'm certain, at least at this point in the conversation, that developers feel that way too.
Oh hell yeah! There's some people I'm still afraid of.
Yeah. So,
man, have you seen?
Yeah.
That guy's a monster.
Yeah.
Nicest
so,
guy.
so I'd say that when it comes to developers or anyone contacting a streamer, if you reach out to them with with this assumption of neutrality, like, hey, I'm not asking anything from you other than you look at whatever it is that I do, whether that be a game, whether it be a product, whether it be, honestly, like, and I'll even go, oh man, this is going to destroy my inbox later, but whatever. If somebody contacts me and they want me to check out their Twitch channel and they're not pushy about it, I will check it out. Like, it is that simple. To me, if you come with an open hand and you say, please check this out, I am so inclined to look at it because you are confident enough in your product, your videos, your game, your controller, whatever it is. You're so confident in it that you're willing to come with an open hand and not a closed fist, like, check this out or I'll punch you. It's, look at this, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
That draws me into the conversation. And I feel like a lot of developers come with NDAs and this closed hand mentality of, you get to look at this, but no one else does. And that's a huge problem to me.
The opposite side of that is what you should never do, at least in my opinion, is be really pushy about it. The thing is, and this is, we'll talk about it. But most recently there was a time, I think it was like 6 or 8 months ago, where someone reached out to me and they're like, hey, I'm having, or I think someone's daughter was sick, or someone got in a car accident. They're like, hey, we have a GoFundMe up for, I think it was GoFundMe for their funeral expenses or something like that. And I was like, you know what? I'll retweet that. And then I got hit on by like 8 people like that day with their own links for their own charity things. And I was like, but they're all really pushy about it. They're like, hey, you should do this because it's for one person. Like, I dislike anything I have a very visceral, I shut down to those kind of comments. I won't even respond to them because I'm like, I'm afraid I'm going to make them upset or this, that, or the other. But it's the same thing with when you send me, I have the same thing, Ben, where people were like, hey, if you have time, check me out. That same thing I sometimes do. Sometimes I don't. I'm not going to lie and say I go all the time because I don't. But sometimes, I'll check you out. But the people I will never check out is those who are like, hey, can you come to my stream? And also tweet me out and maybe like follow me, all that kind of stuff, who are like very demanding and they want things from me versus being very, as you said, coming at me in a very neutral fashion.
Yeah.
Who are they just are taking a chance. That is something I am 100% on board with. And good on you because honestly, at least for me, when I get really nervous, I probably am the most nervous when I send emails than when I am talking to people face to face. Because I feel like my tone does not exist in an email. You can set one.
It's so hard.
My personal
I have a rough
tone.
tone. I've been told I have a very rough tone in emails. My boss is just like, can you nice that up a little bit? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
T-Rex, when we were talking about this, he said, and I want to use this to transition into our question and answer phase on Twitter. T-Rex says he told me when we were talking, he really hoped that you would mention how to write an email to a developer.
I did say that.
Is this something that you have a speech about or feelings about?
Remember that podcast I told you about?
Uh-huh.
I literally did that podcast about how to write a proper email because I was reacting to the complete flood of terrible emails that I got in 20 minutes.
Can you do us a favor then and link us that?
Can you link us that, or do like a synopsis
we'll save time
for
today,
us?
and we'll have it in like a link dump below the
Yeah.
and soon.
I will link that. It's on YouTube. Yes.
Fantastic. I'm actually working to get this on iTunes.
Yeah,
He's gonna link it in chat. We're gonna set it up on iTunes and all that other stuff.
Yeah, like, it was legitimately just a reactionary, like, okay, and it wasn't from. I'm gonna be honest with you, it wasn't from like somebody who's just starting out who doesn't know it. It's people who should effing know better. And that's why I walked like, all right, guys, it's a come to Jesus talk right now, okay? Like,
Come to Jesus. Let's say we have a come to Jesus moment.
Like we definitely
come down to the altar if you feel like you need prayer, chat.
And the way I saw it is, and again, some people did get upset by the way I expressed it. I was a little upset, but the way I saw it is, you can't make this mistake with a lot of other folks and get away with it. You'll get blacklisted. Like, you can make this mistake with me. I'm like, okay, like, hand slap, whatever, cut that out. But if you do that to one of the big boys, EA, and all of a sudden you're just like, oh, what happened? I know exactly what happened. Don't
blacklisted.
Make these mistakes with me. I'm trying to help as best as I can to fit with the people who I work with, but please don't screw yourself over just because you're too lazy to take the time.
Yep, and there was this is also another thing about just products in general. There was someone I knew who they were was a speedrunner. I forget who it was. Essentially, they had a specific problem with their capture card, and I'm not going to say any kind of brand names or whatever. Their capture card was not doing well. They got a new one to work better, different brand, and they just bashed that capture card all the time. And they were big enough to where waves were being made about it in like the PR world of whatever land that I'm not a part of, because I get confused. I just play video games. But they were trying over and over and over and over again to reach out to them, and that person just, they were on their own, little world doing all their stuff. And I don't know if it ever got resolved, but basically, like, they were going to get blacklisted across so many places because the developer of that capture card was like, they're going to bad talk us, I'll bad talk you, kind of thing, to where I'll make sure that everyone I ever work with is never going to touch you, kind of thing.
All right.
So even a bad email could do the same thing. So just words are powerful. They're not just made to hurt people; they can also hurt you in the long run. So choose them carefully because you can't take them back.
Yeah. So before I have a couple of questions on Twitter that have already kind of come up that I felt like are important. But
I did just link the VOD. Do you want to? I don't have a. I'm not a mod, so I can't spam it.
No, that's fine. So if you look in chat, if you're on YouTube or whatever, if you want to see,
dude, I'll save
that. Contacting developers with PR email and stuff. Look, it's right here, guys. I'm going to highlight it. There you go.
Add to favorite.
Click it. And there's all that stuff, and so check that out. There you go. There's a nice hearty spam of it. But guys, if you want to participate in the question and answer section of this on Twitter, feel free to tweet myself at Professor Broman, T-Rex at the T-Rex, or Andy himself and I believe it's at Andy_Sandbox.
Andy L Sandbox.
Andy L Sandbox.
If you follow any of us on Twitter, you will see those handles and
we will do our best to answer the questions that we have. So one that I feel like is important, and it's definitely there, and it's valuable information, because kind of like how we covered size of channel earlier. This is another stereotype, I guess, that we could look at. Does gender affect the decision to choose an influencer for a developing company?
I feel like that's a fantastic question.
It does. Okay. Back up.
I feel like this is a two-sided answer.
It is a two-sided answer. Gender would only ever come into play for a decision that I would make if it is a particular demographic or a feature I'm trying to create. If I'm going for an all-female cast, if I want particular pushes, yes. But if it's in general talent-related or things like that, it has nothing to do with that.
There you go.
Well, there you go. That was
simple
honest
answer from a very complicated man.
Yeah, man. Okay, so Andy, I think this one is for you. What would you say has been your most fruitful partnership with a streamer or developer? I need to run and use the restroom.
I have the next question while you're going.
Yeah, so it's literally a question for me and you, T-Rex, and a question for Andy. So what's the best partnership that you've had? I'll be right back.
Gotcha.
I'm so sorry.
The most fruitful partnership I've had. You know, I guess I want to answer this with a person that I've probably directly influenced their viewership with some of my titles. Either they played the most amount of our titles, they've done the most with it. And there's a good amount of people on that list because now, I don't have every title. Sure. This is tough because I want to say it's Smokaloke. He's one of the streamers out there that's just, but we've been back and forth. He's been, he's one of my favorites, but he has been just, really attentive to what I've been trying to do. And he's the kind of person that, he understands the mantra of I'm beating my own drum. I've never really seen him jump on the bandwagon just because it's there. So far, the back and forth, because he's also introduced me to a ton of other influencers as well. Introduced me to Jack Lafier, introduced me to, Chef Tig and all these other broadcasters that I just wouldn't have met otherwise. And they've all just come with very, very open eyes and positive thoughts in their hearts. That it's just been the most influential relationship that I've built, and it's also passed on. Actually, I need to second that, and it's my entire relationship with the coalition. Like Tangent, even like giving me an extended arm, saying, "Hey, you don't suck." You know what I mean? Like from Co giving me the time of day, and Limpy talking to me. He was in New York recently. Having dinner, hanging out there. All these relationships have been just so beneficial to just being part of the community and making sure I don't go down those dark paths, and you just understanding so much more, so yeah, that's my answer. I know I named more than a few, but it's more than a few people that have just been beneficial. Right down to the people who heard me out a year ago. I just had my year anniversary. It's been pretty amazing. So yeah, props to the coalition for sure. Props to the entire, Bad News team, that have taken me out to dinner just to have a conversation. And it's never been like a back and forth, like, oh, now you owe me this. It's just like, hey, what's the world like? And here's what it is. It's like having a Birds and the Bees talk every week.
Nice.
So, T, did you have an answer to your most fruitful partnership?
For me, it's not really about devs, though, because I feel like I haven't had many. For the most part, those were, I feel like, just starting / maybe, I don't know. They just haven't happened yet. That's the best answer I can give. But
I understand.
Talking about just working with individuals or larger groups of people, I would say for sure the biggest influence that's impacted me is, I guess there's a tie for two. One is my entire Twitch team, obviously, because I feel like for the most part, really diverse in everything we cast and our personalities and even our time zones. We have, Excess Profanity over in Australia, of Ella Jazz. We kind of cover almost 24/7 probably for if you want to watch one of our teammates. But I feel like we all, to a degree, it's harder now because I know we are all too independent for our own good to a degree sometimes.
It's been a struggle.
Yeah, but I would say it's one of those things to where it's steel on steel. You make each other sharper, harder, kind of thing. To where I see what they're doing, and I'm like, I am proud to be on a team with them, and I want to do better. On top of that, I would say to everyone who I've worked with in the Destiny community, especially, I've had my Trials team with Cheriana and Falling Cow or Gunny since Trials came out, and that was our Friday thing for the longest time, and I loved it. So I would say it's not developers, and that may be a cop-out answer, but I don't have an answer otherwise. I would say for sure it's the people who I've had the privilege of working with over this past insane year to put me today where now I'm talking to the internet about stuff. That's just the truth, though, So I hope that I can continue, hopefully, meeting more cool people and maybe in the future doing more cool things with those people or introducing people to other people like Matchmaker, except for developers and cool people. Yeah, you can get it.
All right. So there's I guess for me the most, a lot of people on my channel probably already know, but I've had a lot of attempted relationships with developers, and if you've been around my channel since it started, you know how frustrating and infuriating it was for me trying to work with people when things started. But I would say my relationship with Bungie has gone very, very well, despite their size, and I guess Activision as the even one step higher on that. They have shown their ability to learn how to communicate with an individual across, all potential barriers that might exist, but when it comes to an entity of that size talking to one person. And they did that by designating one individual to talk to people.
Is that the person who I think it is?
Yeah, Walker.
Yep. Okay. I didn't know we could say name.
I don't know either. I might have just gotten in trouble, but he never asked me to sign an NDA.
That's a good point. That's a good point. He's also living it up in France now, doing cool shit.
Yeah,
but it was a single person that was.
But it's one person. They have
a liaison.
Activision has a liaison for Destiny, and it's one person who is kind of coordinated a lot of this stuff. And having from a company side, and maybe this is very beneficial for you as the representative of devs, saying, hey, having a guy to talk to people, one guy, so you have that person-to-person connection. This guy knows your company's goals and whatever, but he has the ability, since he's functioning as an individual, to talk to the content creator, the potential influencer. It's a big deal. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Absolutely.
I think telling our clients and future clients, and if there are developers, and I know for a fact there's some publishers in here right now trying to hide.
Call you out, nerds.
To tell them to take the time to hire a position for influencer relationships isn't that far-fetched.
You hear it from us, from our side, that's to a degree, I feel like that is what we want.
It was the smoothest. It was the smoothest, simple, and easiest, and least intimidating communication that I've ever had.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, is that when you're approaching someone who's just starting, and there's a lot of questions about this on Twitter. No lurker is safe. Even giant companies.
No secret.
No secret. When you're getting approached, when you're getting talked to, you get terrified. When you have this like so and so at giantcompanyname.com. You're like, hi, like, what's up? How are, like, and I know that
moment, like, oh geez,
Dad. when you Andy, when you emailed me and said who you were, I did my background research and I was like, okay, I need to write a really good email. Like, I need to triple check this shit. Otherwise,
I never used LinkedIn, but I've Googled LinkedIn before.
Yeah.
Helpful.
So it is such a valuable asset. And especially as media moves forwards, I feel like on the developer side, having one person to manage, or a team, however big you are, to have a singular person or a team to manage relationships with potential influencers or YouTubers, whatever, Twitch, is really important. Because as an individual, it's really scary when a company tries to talk to you. You're like, ah! But when one person tries to talk to you, you're like, this is my dude from so and so. Like, I get him. We're friends. That's how I felt about you, and that's why you're on the podcast, Andy. You know that?
It's the same thing with.
Makes me feel good.
I don't know Activision. I know a guy at Activision.
Yeah, exactly.
In the form of the law, corporations are trying to be seen as people and all that kind of stuff. But in real life, that's not the case. Obviously, Activision is not a person. There's a person who comes from Activision to talk to me, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I would say, I mirror everything you say, and then I've now realized every interaction I've had with people that have been positive have been that way.
Yeah,
with Square people.
Podcast.
with the people at Cliff BCs for Lawbreakers. Same thing. It's been one person I've talked to. I have another question. If it's a little easier one, if we want to move on.
Yeah. Well, I have one that is 100% Andy's responsibility that I feel like would be really good.
Cool. Well, mine's short.
Okay, we'll hit yours first, and then we'll hit mine.
Sure. This is from Bold Amoeba on Twitter. I have an extreme interest in a game that hasn't been released yet. Any tips on how to get in and on alpha and beta? This is, I think, a really simple, because I know the answer to it.
I actually rather you answer that because you have been doing your homework.
So that's because I follow you on Twitter. But essentially, one is sign up for everything you can sign up for. I would say that's the number one biggest thing. Like, as soon as Division Alpha or like the Division signups were up, I was on that. Sign up for everything you can, especially. And then, just like you said, they usually have press things as well. So if you are an influencer who might be interested in creating content for that thing, sending a very well-worded email saying, hey, I would love to work together. Make a dialogue. I've been trying to work on that as well, because currently I'm trying to have something with Bungie, but it hasn't happened yet. I'm patient. But, it starts with a dialogue. It doesn't start by always being approached. Sometimes you have to be active in it. Right. So, number one, sign up if you can, if there's a website. Number two, just like you said earlier, find out who runs their PR things, send a nice email, hit them up on Twitter, all that kind of stuff. But it starts by you taking action. You can't be passive. If that's something you really want to do, and that's something that matters to you, prove it. Andy.
Damn good answer.
That's good. So I kind of got a couple back to back. One is from one of my moderators who's been a moderator since they had about 1,000 followers. So I'm going to ask it for him. It says, this is for Andy. With controversies around Kotaku, Polygon, etc. What are the disclosure standards that you look for in influencers? Things along the lines of, I'm friends with the developers for this game, or this is a free review copy provided by the publisher. So what are your feelings about disclosure? I guess the core question is disclosure standards.
Okay. It is the responsibility of the publisher to make sure everyone's across, it's all responsibilities across the board that people should know if you are paid to do this or not. People should also have the right to know whether or not you got a free copy from the publishers, developers, like, we're doing it this way. I think they should know, because it's not that you're going to change your opinion, because if you're going to change your opinion just because you got it for free, you're doing something wrong. Truth. I think it's just important to kind of go, we know why you have this relationship with them, why you're playing in this, why you might be here later. And when it comes to disclosure, a lot of our clients say, hey, please make sure they disclose that, this was X, this was Y, they got the, and they tell us, like, make sure they say it in the video, make sure they say it in the stream, or, put a bot up. It shouldn't be hidden. It is hidden.
Would you say that it's kind of along the lines of when a news organization or whatever has to report on something that also involves their parent company? So, like, you'll have CNN saying, like, apparently, X corporation, full disclosure, CNN's owner, whatever giant megalo corporation, also owns this company. This company's been selling antifreeze to babies. Like, do you feel like this disclosure situation is that you need to just, what is the burden of responsibility, I guess?
That's the way to answer that is, it's all about transparency.
I realized I set that up in a really negative fashion, but it was the most recent memory that I had about disclosure. Mm-hmm. So I'm not trying to refer disclosure as selling antifreeze to babies. Okay. But that was the most recent. Me and I were watching TV last night. It came up. Or it was like puppies or something. I don't even know.
Just to make sure I have the question properly, answer the question
framed.
Properly. Yeah. We are talking about who bears responsibility of telling the audience.
Whose responsibility is it at the end of the day for disclosure? Is it the person making the content? Is it the developer? Or is it, I mean, based on stuff I've signed and read over, I feel like it's both parties.
After all,
I have a question after this as well.
Okay.
After all my experience, I think it works better for everyone across the board, for everyone to take responsibility. But I feel it should be our due diligence on our side to say, to make sure we say, hey, we'd like you to disclose this.
I gotcha.
I don't want to take any risks, and I don't want any loose ends. So it's our responsibility to make sure, hey, we'd like you to do so. If you choose not to, that's a different road. But it's on our end of the fence. It says, like, you know what? You need to say this. We're asking you to say this because we do not want to be that company, and none of our clients want to be those clients or anything that say, hey, they paid to make sure, that this was, like, put in a positive light. It just looks terrible. We'll get torn apart.
Yeah.
We've seen it too many times this year, last year, and the year before that.
Absolutely.
I realize there's a raise hand function on this, and that.
Oh my gosh! Lower your damn hand.
Anyway, so it's more of it's definitely a question for you, Andy. So there is. I'm not going to mention any and who I think it is or who's done it or whatever. But what are your opinions and what do you do? So let's say you give a prestigious website, or maybe it's they're villainous, whatever you want to call them, access to something early. And you were like, this is
real shit.
Embargo. Your embargo to talk about this to this extent or whatever is December 22nd, 2015.
Real trap shit.
What do you do when people who are also known for breaking that? Why? I guess the multi-layered question. Why do they keep getting worked with? And what do you do on your end? Because I'm sure that's got to be like the worst, like ever, just the worst.
Embargo breaking has so many victims. And here's why I say that. There are times where we have given early access to particular titles ahead of time to a group, or sometimes even large groups of broadcasters, and no one has broken it. Everyone's playing by the rules. And then somebody gets a copy from God knows where, GameStop leak, something happens, and they get a copy and they just crap all over it, and they just break embargo. And then we're sitting here going, it's screwing over all the influencers that were going to get their exposure for the early content, and that makes me really, really mad. It's ruining the embargo that we have with our clients, saying that, okay, we agree to this and we don't know how this happened, and we also make sure we cross our T's and dot our I's, making sure they didn't get it from us. It happens all the time. But number one, if there is somebody who is established consistently breaking embargo, it's our responsibility to make sure that we just start either, it's worth the conversation at the very least, but we don't want to work with those people. I can't answer why those people keep getting particular pushes here and there. I can't answer it. And if you are, you should know better, and you're just kind of ruining your entire career.
Yeah.
But if you are the kind of person that's going to hold embargo, because embargoes exist for a reason. Like, there's a ton of reasons why we'll hold embargo. Hell, a lot of reasons people hold embargoes is because there's a patch very much needed for this.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, please don't play, because you're just going to screw yourself out of a better experience, or something might happen. Those things are important. Like, just follow the rules is all we ask. So there was a second part of that question. I feel like I'm forgetting it.
No, I feel like you answered it because I guess you talked about what you would do, or like what you tried to do.
Yeah. So
okay, yeah, I think you did everything.
I mean, there are some embargoes that have been broken that I will walk right up to your channel and say, "You're breaking embargo. Step down right now." Like, no, like, cut it out. And some people straight up listen. Like, some people innocently did not know. Like, they got an email, saw a code, went to town, but didn't do their due diligence. I put big red letters like embargo here. Some people really go, I apologize, did not mean to do that. We can still have a relationship. At the very least, you respected my request of taking down videos or not streaming anymore. It's important to just at least communicate, because if you're just going to ignore me, then you're just walk away, please. And I have no problem telling a lot of other clients, please stay away from that person. I have that list. I have a blacklist. We all have a blacklist.
I think that
you have a show on NBC called The Blacklist.
Have you seen it? No, I feel like, dude, Blacklist is good.
I actually like it.
Good show.
Jason Spader?
I actually feel like you, Andy, have touched on something from the developer side that sort of echoes what we feel on the broadcaster, content creator, influencer side, which is being a human back matters.
Oh, yeah.
Look, like, if I break NDA, if I break a contract and I come to you and I'm like, dude, I'm really sorry. I didn't realize I wasn't supposed to go into that area of the game. I went into that area of the game because I was so into it and I was broadcasting, like, can you please forgive me? Like, I hope this doesn't ruin our relationship. I'm sure that goes a lot farther with you than saying, like, hey, yo, it was really cool. Fuck you. And I'm glad I showed parts of your game I wasn't supposed to. Suck a dick. Like, I'm sure that the first response to that probably carries more weight with you when it comes to future events. Is that would you say that's true?
There are some people, I'll answer this by saying this, there's some people who bit themselves in the ass real hard.
Ooh.
Because you have to understand this from a PR point of view. From our company, we work on a lot of different games. We change things up all the time. And so all of a sudden, when a game that you really, really want shows up and I'm the one handling it, how are you going to look now?
I see.
I hope you get snarky with that. Want a code?
You know, it'd be really great if you didn't show everybody Sector 5, but
It's not meant to be viewed as vengeance.
No. I mean,
it's just like, God, you know,
it's
that's the point of those contracts, is that you have a point of reference to enforce rules.
Yeah, and editorial is in the same boat. You know, there are plenty of websites who've done the same thing, who get the same response, who get the same results, and the same consequences happen. It's really, really not all that different.
It was a question in Jax. We're trying to treat everybody like who has no idea what's going on. Embargo is when basically there is an agreement that you will not do something with what you were given. So let's say discuss, show, whatever. Let's be if you got footage early, you won't put it on your YouTube until this exact time and moment. You won't discuss about it. That's kind of in an NDA, same thing. A non-disclosure agreement is what you can and cannot talk about once you see what they're going to show you or experience.
I mean, T-Rex and I can probably be honest because it was kind of all over Twitch. Everyone was talking about it when Just Cause 3 came out and everybody got early access.
I was allowed to go to a specific mission.
You can go to up to X story mission and then you can't go beyond it. And I know everybody on Twitch got to it and was like, all right, guys, that's Just Cause 3. I'm done. Can't anymore. I just can't anymore because NDA.
Yeah.
So
and
that is
that's showing some really weird things lately. Like it feels kind of like, ooh, it makes everything look kind of artificial when that happens. Like I've done it before where everyone stopped and I was just like, now everyone's seen the same part of the game. And that's, you know, I just want to speak on saying that it's why I crave unique content more than just playing the game. Like if you guys would go, hey, can I just play this particular section in my own way? Or can I have, like, I just want more ideas from your end. Like, can I not just give you a copy so you can do a Let's Play? Can we try something else?
This is the example that I can have for that. Is so when Red Bull Esports contacted myself, basically Walker at Activision mentioned to me, he's like, hey, you know, be on lookout for something. So I got it. And then I was followed. Apparently it was very interesting. I didn't even notice it. I don't know how I noticed it. Red Bull Esports with like 300,000+ followers on Twitter followed me, and that slipped through the cracks. But I got a DM from them saying, hey, you should open that package. And each of us got something different. And if you really wanted to see the whole picture, essentially, we kind of try to have a push to where we would retweet each other, to that way cast the largest net as we could. But all of us had something different. I think that'd be, I don't know how it would happen, but wouldn't that be super cool if, let's say, you chose 12 influencers and you have a game that has 40 missions in it. If you gave, let's say, like a mission apiece to all of them, or maybe a couple duplicates, so that way you could have like, oh, I want to see. So I saw mission 3. Oh, but so-and-so has mission 5. Like, that's kind of cool because then you're also, one, it's new to them. They haven't seen it. They haven't seen anybody else play it. And it's unique to the viewer as well. Like, that'd be really cool. But that's a lot more work for sure to do that, to have like a tailored experience.
It's more work, but this is the kind of work we should consider. Like, it shouldn't just be a press play button. Like, I think Hitman would be a great way to look at that one. I think if we had, you know, for Dark Souls, if you all took, you know, if you had a debug and you all took a different boss, that'd be really kind of cool. Like, we saw Lobos do it one way and, you know, Lysias do it another way. Like, just kind of like, I like the ideas. It just takes a little bit more work on everyone's part. And no, not every game is qualified for that kind of push.
Sure,
that's
absolutely.
The idea that I like, you know, like it's cool. It's actually really cool. You know,
I just want to make a point and say if you play Bloodborne, fuck Lawrence. That's it. That's it.
That's
fuck
actually that's actually a really good point. I think that there might be a lot of avenues that everyone has yet to explore when it comes to promoting a game. Because as you said with Bloodborne, if everyone was given a debug kit and they were like, look, you can fight boss X, you know,
or even like a save file where it's like you have, that'd be this work for Bloodborne. So let's say they get you like they plop you, they say like, if you go
you're level 35, you have this area, you fight the boss of the area.
Not even that. You give them access to, let's say, 20 weapons with different skill sets, and you give them a character with like X thousands of blood echoes, and you can level the character yourself. And then they're like, all right, once you have take this lantern, you'll be outside this boss, go fight this boss. Like with whatever build you want. Like that would be super cool. Like I don't know how it's applicable to other games, but just for that game, like that would be stellar.
It's
but then
cool in a lot of ways because we don't need to maybe set a debug, but we could bring them to we can bring them to the studio. You know what I mean? Like
that too, yeah.
Something we can talk about ahead of time, plan it, coordinate it, execute. We're good. You know, like why have 40 different people with the same 20 minutes of gameplay?
Yeah.
You know, commentary, granted, unique commentary
matters a lot.
It does matter, but again, that's when we're going to start.
But at what point have you hit every style of player?
Exactly. I mean, it's when a developer or a PR company can start bettering themselves by going, we did something a little bit more unique and we took the first steps. And then we reached it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, instead of going,
exactly.
You know, I'm kind of just tired of, you know, and maybe it's something I need to work on. I feel like I need to work on this personally. I'm tired of letting you guys have to create all the content. I want to see us kind of like, you know, work to like get a little more. If you have a crazy ass idea and you're somebody, you know, Bikeman's had some insane ideas. I know someone mentioned them earlier. You know, I mean, if you have a crazy
idea,
I'm not above going, hey, can we pull this off? Oh, we can pull that off? Yeah. All right, cool. We're doing it. You know, like it's
a great example. And this is, I guess, less devs, but more about streaming. But when I've worked with support class on my designs for my channel, they kept being very honest. They're like, if you have something stupid that you want to do that you're like, I have no idea how this will work, you better tell us, because they're like, that's what they live for, is doing the stupid and making it work and making it beautiful. So I kind of feel the same way there, that like I think that's when you get the best stuff, is when you take something that's a crazy idea, and more than likely that's original because no one's like stupid enough to do it, but then when you do it and it's executed properly, so good. So good.
Yeah, man. There's so many really good. Is that really? I'm sorry. I'm super distracted by the high broman emote.
I was like, that's so cool. Like,
this is literally emotes. It spells my name.
How are they so big? They seem bigger than standard size too.
I don't fucking understand when I'm looking at it.
Sorry, everyone just kind of stopped. Like, that's
it says high broman. Are you guys missing this? Look at this shit.
I think everyone's trying to find out who does those.
I feel like that's on purpose. My soul hurt. Look at this.
Oh, I love the different colors in it too.
I am angry at it. How is it's obvious? It seems so intentional.
Can we just get some T-Dino in chat just to get that out?
T-Dino. Okay, so I have three questions that are really close together on Skype, and not Skype, Twitter.
Twitter. I feel you.
Because I have it on the same window. And I really like maybe rapid fire these if you could, Andy.
Okay.
Lightning round.
Lightning round. So the first one is from our very own Rabby V, Destiny folk. Does age have a factor when interacting with devs? Zero factor. So you would say more it depends on the professionalism of the person?
If you have the ability to run your own business, I think you have enough confidence to work with us.
Yeah, that's what you talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm. Boom. Okay, so this is from Happy Warrior 18 or Josh. As PR, do you have influence on the development of a game at all?
I can't say the word development. I have influence over launch and announcements. We do our very best to make sure our clients make the best choices for their product. And if there's a game that is just not ready for launch, or it's like, this is a bad time, like move your launch date, don't release next to Fallout, things like that. That's the most push that we have back and forth. It's not like I'm going to say, you should totally change this level. That doesn't make any sense. That's not our job.
Gotcha.
Our job is to put the client first into the most positive, respectable, and most demographically focused area that we possibly can.
Awesome. And then this one I feel like we maybe could have more of a discussion about. This is from Thorin Hammer. Is it worth a smaller streamer's time trying to contact the developer if they don't have a follower base backing them yet?
I hate just saying no to that question, because when I hear the word smaller streamer, I know what in my head what a smaller streamer is.
Can you describe what that is? I feel like that would be very helpful to people.
And it's a harsh truth, but if you are a streamer that casually streams here and there and has 100 followers and isn't consistent, doesn't have a schedule set up, you're not on my radar. If you are somebody who is inching towards partnership, you're there, not every day, but I know when to find you. You've got your schedule in place. You've got your Twitter in place. You know what your channel's all about, and you know what games you play. You're somebody I can have a conversation with, and you're going to be here 6 months from now. You're a smaller streamer to me. Mm-hmm. There's too many people who I get emails from who say they're starting things out or they're just trying it out, and that's way too early. That's like saying that you have a startup idea, you have a Kickstarter idea. That's not a business yet, and I can't give my clients any hope in your channel just because you might do this one day. You gotta take this as far as I'm taking it.
It's proof of dedication kind of thing.
So
I get it.
Mm-hmm. That's good. So that kind of echoes something we've said a lot before on the channel. Me, T-Rex, a lot of other streamers, when you're asked for advice, be consistent, interact with your chat, and stream as much as you can. Have no friends. Forget about eating normal people food. No, but
it's every morning.
It's the stream for yourself. Like there's a lot of up-and-coming streamers who think that, and we've already talked about this before, but a lot of people think that this game is going to launch me into stardom. That's complete crap. Because you just, even if you, and I've seen
someone else who says it too.
It's the truth. I've seen people who sit there and play a brand new game for 2 days straight, and no one else is playing it, and they get some followers, that have people watching, sure. But if you're not entertaining, no one cares, and it's not your hustle. But again, there's a reason why when Co-Carnage played Fallout, everyone went to his channel and watched him play Fallout. Mm-hmm. He's been there since the beginning, and that's a very grand example.
True.
But if you know for a fact that, hey, listen, Fallout's also my game, I'm going to be playing it long after everyone else is there, I'm going to be doing some unique stuff, then be honest with yourself about that. Like, don't just pick Fallout because it's the new hotness. Yes, you'll get followers. Everyone gets followers on new games. But just be very, very, very honest about it. If I ever streamed, I have an entire Twitch channel, Twitter, email, and YouTube set up for if I ever decide to get fired and start streaming. Just in case. I literally have it all there. And I would play games like Devil May Cry, Bayonetta. I know exactly what games I would play, and none of that is anything new, but I know myself.
And let me address this real quick, Ben, before you get to your point.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. 54 inches, first off, nice name. But people work 8 to 5 and got a mortgage. So
damn, you saw the same thing I did.
Hey, great. Maybe we'll have different pins on it. Or the same opinion, but phrased differently because we're different people.
Doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it.
To mirror what Andy said as well, and we've talked about this so much. We talked about it so heavily in our growth podcast about how to grow a channel to where money is important. If you want to have stream be your career, that is a factor.
You got to pay bills.
You have to pay bills. I get it. But if you, once again, look at Twitch as a get-rich-quick scheme, as I will be popular if I stream this game this day at early release, whatever you want to say, you are doing it wrong. You may be successful because it's always a chance. You never know. But here's the thing, though. Yes, now I care more about those numbers. I care more about money than I used to when I first started to get out because now those numbers are real to me. And I'm trying to expand what my channel can do. So those things are important to me, but it's not the only thing important to me. I've never seen Twitch as a place to where I'm going to make $700,000 in 2 years, and then from there, whatever, I'll stream for once a week. That's not my goal. My goal is to do this till I'm dead. And here's the thing. You had to put in time for that as well. So this is the other side of that. I work from 8 to 5. I worked 40 hours a week as well. And I also did full-time, quote unquote, full-time streaming, to where I would put in 8-hour days on my days where I worked for 7-8 hours. So I would work at my real job where I got actual money. And then I would get no money working my second job, which was Twitch, when I wasn't partnered yet and stuff like that. And
The real
I was
talk.
very fortunate that I was found by some people with extreme generosity to where I felt more comfortable streaming more than I used to. And then eventually I got partnered. Like that is the microcosm of my Twitch starting. But if you think that it's going to be easy, or that you're not going to be heartbroken, or that it's going to work out fine, I personally will tell you, I do not think Twitch is for you, at least as a career.
That's some of the realest advice that people will not listen to.
It's the worst, man.
That's-
And people will continue to tell me, the people who won't listen to that will say, no, but it's just for the money. I'm like, you're correct. I now make ends meet for the first time in my fucking life. I made it.
Real. I made it. I can pay
Like,
my bills.
That is my opinion over the money side. Is I can live in an apartment, I can pay bills, I now have a cat. Like that's it, man. Like,
Wins the yacht, T-Rex.
I get tired. I get tired of that bullshit. And then next year, based on how much I've saved, I'm trying my best to maybe even get a house. Like, but I'm not like I want to live in a mansion. I just want to have a normal fucking life. Not grandiose. Goddamn.
I don't
Yeah.
want to hear about people who are losing their lives, their girlfriends, their businesses, their homes, or hearing that they've taken this big risk of buying a $2,000 PC, setting it all up, and they're failing, and now they're digging for it all. And I've heard this story more times.
We talked about that on the hardware broadcast.
Even before that, we
Even
talked about
before
earlier.
that, getting
We talked
started.
earlier, Andy. Return on investment. That's right.
Yeah,
ROI.
yeah, we talked about that.
All right.
No, I mean we've hit on that. We've hit on that almost every stream. The idea of overinvestment. In that any entertainment career, you have to be drawn into it by love, and do it in your extra time with love. Otherwise, you're going to end up, just like you said, with a $2,000 computer that you need to pay for from your stream, and so you're sitting there and you're like, "So when are you guys going to donate?" Like, all
I've
this.
seen partnered streamers do that, and it makes me want to punch them in the head.
So it's rough. It's rough. And everyone operates their I will say this, everyone operates their businesses differently, and there are multiple successful models, and your decision on the morality of the model that you're using, or your views on how you use it, that's up to you. And as we've always said on this podcast and on our streams, our opinions belong to us, and we are definitely not trying to insult anyone based off of how you run things or how you manage your stream.
But just like earlier when we said we don't want to tell you to buy games, it's the same thing. If I was disingenuous with how I felt about streaming or doing content creation in general, being an influencer, is that you need to be prepared to take loss, you need to be prepared to fail, and
Small business.
above all, potentially fail so miserably that you'll never do it again. And on top of that, you then have all your social stuff. It's something I've been most recently struggling with very heavily, to where my life literally is work. It starts and ends at work. There is nothing else for me right now, which to a degree, you could say that's good for your job, but to a degree, it's also incredibly unhealthy, and I'm aware of it, trying to fail miserably at less at that. But that's the truth. We've talked every time we talk about it, because I don't know how important it is, because it is. You never know if one person hears this and then saves himself $3,000 and then thousands of hours.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I got to tell you guys, I come from a kitchen background. I'm a former chef, been executive chef, sous chef. My whole life has been a kitchen before I switched over, years ago. This is so close to that same comparison where people will put second mortgages on their houses to run restaurants, and they open an Italian restaurant. This is my comparison, on a block with 400 other Italian restaurants.
Ooh.
And they're trying to figure out how they're going to be different. it's no different. It's an unhealthy, it doesn't have to be an unhealthy lifestyle. It's just a stereotype now. It doesn't need to be the most difficult in the world. You just can't put all the risk into this one movement. You need to recognize that you are starting a business. If you want to make money off of this, you are starting a business. If you're just here to be here, then just be here. Have a good time. But don't come here with the cash cow mentality. And I'm so glad you guys are saying this. Because it sounds one way from me. It sounds a different way from you guys.
It's funny because I think the same way. It sounds different coming from us. It sounds different coming from you.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I don't know what else to say about it. Because, like, and then the other thing is, well, then you're just telling people not to. Like, you can do what I did if you want to. Like, I feel like I took the safe route and I got lucky, which was I worked a real job and made normal money that was consistent. And then I took that from without bankrupting myself or hitting up my parents or a mortgage to take more and then reinvest it. I would say that is the safe way to do it. And if you're looking for a way, then keep your job, devote as much time as you can, and then go from there.
Yeah.
Don't go buying an Italian restaurant, or Andy will come find you and laugh at you.
It's true.
Hysterically.
It's absolutely true.
Why would you buy an Italian restaurant when you're streaming? I don't understand that.
I get it. I feel
weird.
like this is actually a really good question. We may or may not end on this, guys. I don't know. How much time do you have, Andy?
Oh, I'm good. I'm here.
He's in a hotel room.
Right.
He just
He's
has
here.
to.
I'm gonna
listen,
man. I've been in a hotel room where I quote unquote had no time before, and I really just wanted to go to fuck to sleep. So I want to be respectful. So Andy, I thought this was actually a really solid question. It's from JCOD.
Ooh, I think I know what this question is.
It says, can you have Andy describe, if this person exists, the perfect influencer for a developing company?
Oh God, no. That would be no. It's I feel like that's the most. Answering that would be an injustice to everybody I speak to. I think that just what we need in our relationships, it's kind of like, the best way, the best traits I could say, but definitely not the perfect influencer, but just one, sincerity about what you're doing, because I want you to be sincere about your channel and what you represent and what you do, because that helps me with my job. Reliability, you deliver on it no matter what. You know what I mean? Like you either you deliver on an email, or you deliver on the product that you said you do, or you say, hey, this isn't going to work, and be honest about it. That's where transparency comes into play. And just be very, very vocal about what your relationship is like to us. Like if you're back and forth, like, hey, this isn't really working out. People tell me all the time, and I'm never mad if it's like, hey, listen, I cannot get this game in my window right now. This happened, that happened, this happened. I'm one of the few people who's going to be like, it's cool, I get it, thanks for letting me know. I've got to figure something else now. But you're a human being, like, you're not a machine. So there's really no perfect influencer. Just those small starting traits of sincerity, knowing yourself, knowing your channel. You know what I mean? Being able to deliver, and being reliable, and then of course being transparent with everything.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's actually really good advice. And I feel like the thread that I've noticed echo through our entire conversation here has been that the best part about any of these relationships on either side is being as human as possible. I really feel like, on the developer side, and you just communicated this, like, if somebody is open with you and communicates to you, like, look, man, last week I know I was supposed to, like, whatever for you, but my goddamn dog died and I am a wreck and I am sorry, or whatever. Thank you for being patient with me. I will do better in the future. That's going to go so far for you. And if a developer says to an influencer, hey, I understand that you have normal human being restrictions. You are not a robot, and you tweeted 3 times last week instead of 4, and I'm not going to murder you for it. I felt like we got really great responses from that. Let's try and kick it up next week. Having a conversation seems, for me at least, based off of what Andy has said and what we have said, seems to be sort of the crux of everything, is that instead of being intimidated on both sides of the fence, whether you're a developer or you are an influencer, broadcaster, YouTube content creator, treating people on both sides of the fence as a human being is going to take you so much further in your relationship than just looking at it like this standard company relationship.
That is period. That is outside of just game dev stuff. Like that's when you're applying for any job. That's when you're working at any job. Is realize that there's something I retweeted a while ago as well, that everyone's human. I fail at this. I'm going to say that preemptively. I fail miserably at this. But it's a lot like when you compare yourself to others. You're seeing I forget what it was. It's like stop comparing yourself to someone else's Twitter feed. You're comparing yourself to a highlight reel. And it's kind of the same thing with that, where although they're not a robot, but you're putting them as like a god, to where it's like I could never speak with this developer. I can never speak to them, or they're too good for me. And the same thing the other way around too. Let's say you're going to work and someone's being kind of grumpy. Maybe, as Ben said, their dog died. They're going through stuff at home. Everyone's a human.
Yeah.
And I see your Twitters. Like, I just look at it as like, oh, okay, well, I get that. They may not tell me, but I'm not going to push. I know you're sick.
Mm-hmm. That's it, man. Treat everyone in life like they're actual human beings. They're not a pop star. Even if they are a pop star, they're also a human. And you're seeing just bits and pieces of their life. Roll with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's that.
That's really good. I feel like we covered a lot of ground today that was really important. I personally had my mind shattered to pieces a few times during our podcast. It's going to take me a little bit to put it back together.
I've gotten a great deal of insight from you guys. A lot of visibility on things that I just don't have information on. It will help my future pushes. Like I got some plans.
Do you have any other questions for us?
Do you have any questions?
Demolished you with questions. So.
I didn't even think about that.
You the respect.
T-Rex being kind, and I'm just like, well, we're done. Bye, guys.
You can leave. I'm going to leave your stream up.
Bye, guys. That was fine.
It's fine. Just I'll
do you have any more questions for us, Andy?
One question that I've actually had, and this pretty much is across the board for all influencers, is I'd like to know how you guys are looking at your careers and what you might do later. Like, you're streaming now, you're broadcasters, like you speak, like there's a lot of skills that I mean, a lot of you can apply for jobs right now that are available. So my question to a ton of influencers, you do this now, you'll be out maybe 10 years, maybe 10 months.
What's next? Because I know Ben and I have talked about this quite often.
I want to know what you can do next, and because that will lead to developers creating your jobs far in advance.
So make a job for me. T, do you want to go first? I actually have an answer if you want to think some more.
You just go first. I've responded first for many things. I want to hear you first.
Okay. So often on Twitch, as broadcasters, we're posed this question: "Hey, Strumma, Twitch blows up tomorrow. How fucked are you?" And people, there's a sense of
I'm gonna be a pilot.
I'm gonna be an alcohol. There's this sense of what we're doing here, at least from the casual observer, is pointless when it comes to job skills. And like I've said multiple times, there are a few jobs that I feel like I am very well qualified for now, even probably more qualified now than I ever have been in my life, because of the skills that I've acquired at Twitch. So one, if any gaming company needed a community manager, you would be very misguided into not trying to seek and hire a content creator to guide that process for you.
Yeah.
Because any content creator, whether they were on Twitch or on YouTube, has taken a piece of content or multiple pieces of content and built a community around it. They've learned how to manage that community, communicate with that community, deal with problems. Sure, I might not know how to manage a message board, but you can teach me how to do that inside of a week. So a community management position is a pretty obvious and simple move from what I'm doing right now. Aside from that, any sort of, for me at least, based off my skill set, things I've done in the past and things I know I'm gifted in, any sort of entertainment-based field, whether it be voice acting, comedy, whatever, traditional media entertainment, I feel like it's stuff that I could be good at and stuff that I've done in the past. So when I am looking for what happens after Twitch, I'm looking at one of two career paths for myself. One is corporate, which is, let me help you manage your brand. Let me help you manage your communicate, take Andy's job. Let me help. I've been on the other side of the fence. Let me tell you how to talk to me 2 years ago. Or manage a community for you, or two, take the community or fan base or whatever I currently have and move it into another medium, whether that be TV, Instagram. I'm not that attractive. TV show together, son. What? No,
Betsy would be so mad.
She'd be furious.
Transformers 5. The case for Professor Broman and T-Rex.
Yeah, or so whether it be corporate or more traditional entertainment medium, I feel like that's if Twitch were to explode tomorrow, which is everyone's big question. Those are the two things that I would start looking at. So that's my answer.
I feel like that's that's the most logical step. I think is if Twitch exploded, that would be what most people would do. Would be good to go to the next best thing that wasn't Twitch. So I guess
screw YouTube. I wouldn't be on YouTube. Sorry,
there's
YouTube.
other streaming services, and who knows? Maybe they would benefit from Twitch's fallout and then could migrate over there. And that's why you have things like Twitter. Two things about that real quick is one. Back when I had time, I used to listen to the Rooster Teeth podcast, but Bernie Burns would talk about the importance of your own place on the internet. And that's how the founding of roosterteeth.com kind of happened, whereas they were all on YouTube, and that's where all their eggs were at. And they're like, not anymore. It's what happens if that happens. So you make your own place on the internet. So that's something I've been thinking about we talked about a while ago, Ben and I, about our Twitch team, about having a team website and stuff like that, to where if they wanted to watch us, that's where they would go. So I guess that's one thing you could do. But on top of that, I mean, for myself, I don't know. Twitch is just kind of everything I want to do. So right now there's all these consultants to do a lot of things. Maybe there would be a place to, or if I was done with Twitch, to where if someone wanted to pay me, they're like, hey, can you look at my Twitch channel? Tell me what I can do better. I could analyze them. Because I feel like I have a better idea about what people look for that you just can't convey in a non one-on-one conversation. Right. Because what people want out of you as a broadcaster is different, depending on who you are, because you excel at different things, obviously. So there's that. But for me, if I could stop broadcasting 30 years from now / never, I don't know. I've always wanted to be published, to which I am in a journal, but that's.
You need to finish your. Okay, sorry. We're just gonna take a sidebar right now, and I'm gonna talk to T-Rex as a. Shut the fuck up! It's done.
It's been done.
Your book's been done.
Yeah, the third one. Yeah, it's been done.
Why can't I buy it yet?
Because I don't like it.
You have a book?
I hate you so much.
I have 3.
T-Rex started writing this book 2 years ago, right? And I read the first chapter, and it was one of the best things I've ever read in my life. Now, I want you to realize everyone's their first reaction is going to be like, your brothers, of course you like it. How much do you hate your brother and want their shit that they do to suck? Yeah, think about that. Now think about me reading T-Rex's book and saying it's good. Okay, you're in the right brain space. You finished that book.
I did.
I want to read it.
No.
I hate you.
Maybe listen. So there's a thing that I like to refer to. I think I read it somewhere, but as a closet novel. You just write and it never goes anywhere. You finish it.
I want to read the rest of that book. I want to know what happens to the guy after he wakes up in the forest.
It's relevant.
It's not irrelevant. I care so much. I'm sorry, Andy. I care so much.
I'm surprised you remember that, to be
honest. I suddenly want to go talk to my publisher friends.
I didn't forget.
That is something. So, okay, to give an honest preference to that was really important to me for a very long time, and it still is. But when you are doing something that you love and that you care about and you want to grow, sometimes the other things that you love and want to grow have to take a sidebar. And that's Twitch right now for me. So, like I said, Twitch explodes and goes away, or I'm done, maybe that's the next step.
Spoilers.
Or maybe if I have more free time, where the first 2 books released, no, they sit and they suck. They're awful. They're the worst. Fish between the no, shut up. But that's just the honest truth. Is there's all these things that I want to do, but sometimes I don't know how to do them. But
It's
writing
true.
is one thing that I feel
It's
like I
true.
do know how to do. I just got to find the right time and place. And do you want to know the sweetest thing that was ever said to me my entire life?
Oh, man.
When Ben was first, you may not remember this, or you might, I don't know. When Ben was first talking to me about the fact that he was making ends meet, and he felt like he'd made it on Twitch in the sense of like he is paying bills, he can pay, stuff he couldn't, debts and stuff like that. The first thing he said, 'cause I hated where I was working at the time. My life felt miserable, and I would convey this to Ben. I loved writing. Ben said when he was moving back to St. Louis, like 1 or 2 years ago, he said, if you want to quit your job, live in my house and just write for like 6 months, I would let you do that, and I would pay for everything. He offered that to me.
I did say that.
He did say that.
I mean,
I believe
that's
in
huge.
feeding people's dreams.
That's something that but now we're on a different path. Life is full of interesting things and twists and turns. You never know. Maybe, much like the end of my book, it'll come out eventually.
I hate you so much. I hate you so much.
But that's it. Like, if I liked it enough to where I could put enough time into it and publish it myself, which it'll probably be self-published because that's just the easiest way to do it, then great. If not, that's fine. Because here's the thing. If you were a writer out there, this is 100% subjective. It's relevant to everything we're talking about. 100%.
Unfortunately, this podcast has taken a very inspirational turn, and I'm not mad about
Here's
it.
the thing. If you're a writer out there and you're like, my shit sucks, and you never finish anything, my encouragement to you, fucking finish one thing. Finish one thing. This, I guess, goes to game devs. Anything. If there's just do it once.
Any creative person.
There's just this block that gets demolished as soon as you're like, I now have an end product. I have now proven to myself and to everyone else that I can do this. Now I refine my craft and make it better. Same thing you did with streaming. You want to do better streaming? You think you're going to suck at it? Fucking just do it. Shia LaBeouf has a great video about this, about just doing it. And
Do it!
yeah, but that's
Memes!
yeah, but that's the truth, man. And that's why, like, although I may never be published, and this may be just for me, I'm still happy I did it.
Wow.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
I've just learned so effing much about you two.
We accidentally
I'm
are
such a
passed
boring-
all
no,
over
I'm a-
Andy right now.
Boring person. No, don't watch or talk to me.
So that is what we would both do
yeah.
if or what we would look for if Twitch were to kind of pass away or fatigue as a medium.
Fuck
What
you.
would any other questions that you might have?
Yeah, my
Andy?
bad. That was
From
long.
hey man, that's what I do.
So you're asking me what I would do?
I mean,
Any other questions?
If
that
you
might
want to
have?
answer, but this is Andy time. This is Andy's.
Andy isn't ever going to lose any job he ever has.
Yeah,
okay?
Andy is
Do
going to be
you
president of the
understand
United
me?
States.
What I'm saying? Anyone? Okay, cool. I'm glad we talked about that.
If let's just say I get, booted tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Quickly speaking, I would still try to find ways to work with influencers. And I would try very, very hard to make sure I was broader. I would start with Twitch, but I would try very hard to look at Snapchat. I'd look really hard at Vine. I'd want to find Periscope. And there's a lot of good stuff Periscope going on there. And people like Gary Vaynerchuk, Cube, and tons of influencers have a lot of power, and I want to be able to find ways to harness that. That's the jobs that I would seek out.
That makes a lot of sense. Places that haven't been tapped yet.
Yes,
for sure.
There's a lot of potential, and people just
smart.
don't know what to do. And I'm sitting there looking at it like, well, I know what to do, but that's number one. But as for questions for the podcast, for this wonderful chat, you guys just gave me so much insight into you. Like, I consider you guys friends. You're good
My
people.
God,
I just felt so happy knowing that about you, T. Like, that's amazing. How good of a
Twitter
person you
exploded.
are. You know, Ben, like everyone should freaking freak out. Like, I just heard, I mean, that just goes to show you that you guys are more than just people
It's
playing.
not that big of a deal.
No.
It's just words on paper. Everyone's
It's
freaking out about it.
integrity, it's ambition, it is substance, and this is why everyone follows you guys. This is why that's why these people are in this chat right now, and that's why I'm just so humbled being here with you guys. Like, I got no more questions. I'm just sitting here freaking beaming right now, the fact that you even took the time to put me here. Like, so I'm just gonna smile like an idiot for the next 30 seconds.
Okay. I actually since I feel like
Once, baby.
I feel like we have resolved your questions for us. I actually have a couple of questions for you as a developer,
Do it, man.
or representative of a developer, just from me. And you may or may not be able to answer this, and that's fine.
Okay.
When someone approaches you with a game that you think is bad, what do you say?
Good question.
I cannot answer what I say. all I can say is we discussed.
Are you allowed? Sorry, let me rephrase that in an answerable fashion. Are you allowed inside of that closed dialogue to give input and say, like, look, I think you might need to redirect blah or XYZ this?
We discuss every game as a team. Whether it's just we're just going to work with the influencers on it, or the whole team is working on it. We don't do our entire PR team. We don't go into anything without talking to each other first. So if we're just all kind of like, this isn't going to work for us, we'll be honest about that.
Okay.
That's the most I can say about it.
So you don't you don't take a suggestion, because I feel like this is a question, like, for me, as an ignorant person, as long as I've been doing this, it's a question that I still have. You don't, as a PR person, get a thing and be like, well, I know this is crap, but I'm going to stuff it down these people's throats. Like that, because that's, again, like, I guess, like, a lot of why I wanted to have you on was I wanted to try and deal with some of these misconceptions that people have.
Yes.
And I know that as someone who likes to think that I have misconceptions myself, and that is something that occasionally, like, I get something in my email inbox and I'm like, this guy can't be for real, right? Like, he has to know that what he's pitching me is crap.
Gotta be fun.
And so I just want to know, like, so you do have input.
We have input to what we sign up for. We
Okay.
don't tell the developer, you've got to go do this. That's not our job. We're not developing consultants. We're a public relations firm. This is about us getting the game to the public. So when we start talking about, it's working on this right now. Yeah, okay.
No, it's fine. I understand. I understand.
No,
This is
well-
one of those questions that's probably very loaded for you, and you have to be careful for your answer. And
Of
I
course, because I don't want
wanted to wait to ask until you were tired to see if I could get you to fuck up.
I think that, I mean, when you looked, gaming is so opinionated. When you
Truth.
looked at Shower with Your Dad Simulator first.
No!
Wait,
What that is?
Hear me out!
I'm Googling this shower with your dad simulator.
Oh, man.
Okay, I typed in shower with your, and then it came up.
Guys, when I had to tell my boss what the number one trending game on Twitch was that day, just kind of going, you're not going to believe this. If you look at it from our point of view, okay.
No, guys, Google this shit. It's all
I don't know.
pixels
I
and
cannot
stuff.
in my right mind tell people to go Google or find that.
No. Guys, if you Google it, it's not, you could probably look for this stuff on your work-based search filter, and it
God.
wouldn't. It's just like a really uncomfortable pixely version of a male bathroom. I'm just gonna switch back to my game channel and turn on my monitor capture so I can show you. This is Shower with Your Dad Simulator. It's relatively inappropriate. Okay, there you go, guys. That's what you get.
The reason I use that example is because
It's a puzzle game.
God.
if you came to us saying, hey, something can happen. It is now up to the PR firm to go, can we do something with this or not? Because there's some games that I wholeheartedly believed in that I just couldn't get off the ground. I couldn't do anything with it. And there's some games where I go, this may not work. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Then I go, wow, I would have really pulled it off. Like, you know, we're calculated. We're very detailed. We do a crap load of research. I do weeks of research before I say yes or no. You have to have the guts to say this is going to work and this isn't going to work. And there are some games that are only going to work on Twitch and YouTube and nowhere else. But that's one of those examples of the fact that I just said that probably just spiked their analytics up a second ago, but you would never know what's going to happen. And look what that game did. Are you looking at the Steam reviews, right?
I'm
not opening that shit.
I'm falling down a goddamn rabbit hole here.
Yeah.
But basically, like, okay, I have to enter my age.
What I'm saying
I was
is, like,
born in
you
1945.
never know what a game's going to do, and I feel like that's why it's important that us as a company, we play games. I know games well enough to be like, yes or no. I will be wrong. I have been wrong. I have been right. It's just good to be that confident in whether or not you can put a product out there. That's what any agent, for an actor, any agent for a musician, you got to be able to see where you can put this, and that's our job.
So you're telling me that one day on Twitch, everyone was playing Shower with Your Dad Simulator.
Oh, yeah.
And it was okay according to... You're okay according to the Twitch TOS to play this game.
I don't know if anything happened, but I
really feel like I would get in trouble for playing this game after the trailer I just watched.
I can just see like everyone at Twitch HQ just being like...
Do we look at
Random Steam review says this game lost me 12 friends. No, guys, this is not that. We haven't even reached the post-stream conversation yet. Andy is talking about an experience that he had that was relevant on Twitch because people were playing this ridiculous ass game.
Yeah, man.
So you're saying basically, like, as PR representative or as a game dev representative, sometimes you get approached with a situation like that where it would essentially be unwinnable.
And, you know, you got to look at it from the big picture. If you see a game, like when you first, you know, I can give games as examples all the time, but when you see something that's just so out there, but just so new that you're just like, I think I know where to go with this, you got to take the risk or you're not. So we have the liberties of saying, I can handle this, and you know, we can easily go, you know what, we can't handle this, but we know a PR firm that can, because they've been here before, or the genre works, or they know the right contacts. You know, it's good to share information, and that's how I see it. You know.
Yeah.
That was.
You never know when a game like that one is going to be next. Like, it's weird to say, but
Surgeon Sim
game.
Yeah, the next viral game.
A game can go viral.
I mean, Surgeon Simulator helped make my channel. When I started, like, I did Surgeon Simulator at AGDQ 2014. And it was part of what got my channel a lot of recognition was the Surgeon Simulator speedruns.
Like right now, I have a game called Snow.
Okay.
It's a ski simulator. Alrighty?
Nice.
Beautiful game. Been fantastic. And I'm sitting here going, I have no idea who to talk to play this game. And I at one point I had to go, okay, I need people to tell me who can do something with this, what kind of content can we create. And it's that weird, like, because there's no other games to compare it to except for SSX right now. No one's got that on the market. It's brand new. So as a firm, we're going to be like, I mean, I'll link Snow here, you know, because
would you say it's tricky?
Oh man, it's tricky. To rock around.
That felt good to say.
It's right on time. It's tricky.
It's a game that you're going to look at like, I don't know what the best target is. You know, I'd love to play it. It's a good looking game. It's a fantastic idea. It's brand new and no one else is doing it. It should sell itself.
Yeah.
But here we are, unaware of where to go.
Interesting.
Feel you.
Looking at the snow end game with the ski and snow and stuff. Oh shit! It's got Red Bull. It's legit.
It's got Red Bull.
Free to play open world winter sports game closed beta.
That is weird.
Was this year exclusive?
But I'm intrigued because like you I was like, all right, and then you said open world, and I was like,
and it's made on the CryEngine. Okay. That looks
open
legit.
world skiing game. Like, no one else can use that sentence right now.
Yeah, it's one of those things to where I talked about before how I feel like, not to diminish efforts or game quality, but like it's why I feel like Destiny did so well is because it's like the first polished version of a genre of like a combining of
potential
genres
genre. Yeah,
that like they have monopoly with an audience that loves that type of genre. It's like you can't find anywhere else. And now you're seeing people trying to do something similar with some other things, but they were there first, kind of like to a degree World of Warcraft, where you matter about quality, if you hate it or love it, it's very popular. Part of the reason is because it was the first polished system of that genre that just took off.
Did he say CryEngine? I did. All right, so that is. I don't even know how we ended up there from the conversation standpoint.
Well, we were just talking about where we make our decisions. Like, okay, what games do you
represent?
Yeah.
I got you. Okay, so the other question that I have for you is if you could pick 3 things that a potential influencer might do as mistakes. What are the top 3 screw ups that you feel like an influencer could make in contacting you or any potential future developer partner to create a relationship?
Number 1 being twitch.tv/Brotato. Nailed it.
It's Brotato. Don't Brotato it.
It's a meme on this show now.
Poor Brotato.
I can't wait. Okay.
Watch last week. Watch the Growing Your Channel week. Brotato has made some infinite channel death mistakes that he's somehow survived. It's been insane. But yeah, what are your top 3? What are your top 3?
Top 3. Personal pet peeve. Not knowing the game before you ask me for it. So
who would do that?
As in requesting a game but not realizing that you don't have the system to play it. Requesting a game or literally almost demanding a game and not knowing a thing about it, just kind of putting, hey, can I get a copy of this game? And then literally not even sure what kind of genre it is, and legitimately not knowing what kind of game it is that you're about to pop it in. That's a big one. And I'm saying this because that why are you here? All 3 of them are related to why did you contact us?
Yeah.
Another big one, I think this
Did you think we'd give you a PS4? Like,
Another big one is, I think, how do you say this? We can forgive a lack of professionalism up to a certain degree, but I think it's when you start getting very personal and vengeful, violent, and internalizing the fact that we may not be able to respond. It's not understanding both sides of the fence and then immediately becoming hostile over it. That is a big thing.
Okay.
It escalates very quickly because some people are passionate. They might, it happens to everybody where they might see another influencer playing the game and they're just like, hey, I don't have my copy. And it may not have been mailed. It might be in your spam box. You may not even realize it's in your box right now. Something might have happened, and immediately getting violent on Twitter or anywhere else. And
I always assume
that's why you poke someone. Be like, hey, did you ever get back to me about this?
And I've screwed up more than enough times where I was just like, I thought I had that code out. I'm so sorry. Dude, if you know you're getting a code from me and it's not there, call me out on it. It's my job. Like, it's my job to not screw that up.
But don't get mad.
Like, and that's
what I mean, like anytime
so
I
you're a human,
that I was supposed to get a code or something, I was always like, hey, listen, I'm a fucking idiot, but did I miss this? And then usually people will be like, no, you're not dumb.
I feel like it's always me.
I sent it 2 weeks ago. Check your spam folder. Like just admitting the capacity of yourself to have made a mistake. Instead of coming at them like,
yo, shitbag, let me tell you what's gonna fucking happen. You're gonna give me that code or I'm gonna put you on blast on Twitter and everyone's gonna hate your game.
Yeah, let me tell you guys.
You don't win any friends by shitting on the people who you're supposed to work with.
The number one way to get things that you want everybody, it's blackmail. That's the best way. Like, come on, guys. Like, don't be
just
stupid.
Blackmail people. It works. No, don't do that.
I'm gonna go on Twitter. Oh, you have 400,000 followers. That's fine. I have 30. That's followers, and I'm sure that it'll work out in my favor.
I have 30 followers and I'm going to bring down your empire.
It's amazing because I have a very high tier. I call them high tier because, like, they're up there. They get big. They're up there. Who will poke me on random days looking for games, and I'm like, you can put in a request pretty easily, and they just, it's most of it because they're just overwhelmed and they miss a release date by weeks. They're just like, holy crap, that's today. And I feel bad. I actually feel bad for folks that ask. It's just like, I realize that you probably missed it. I never take it as rude. It's kind of like, hey, dude, you can just talk to certain people, but it's kind of like where I wish people had assistance, where it's just like, okay, if you just took a 10-minute email, I'm sure someone would listen to you of all people, but they're just like, screwed up. And granted, they're not afraid to buy the game, but there's some people who are literally sitting there at the computers like, man, wish I could work with that influencer.
What I will say, if you ever start a sentence or ever talk to someone with something similar of "Don't you know who I am?" you're a fucking asshole, and
Don't you know who I am?
Just get out of here. No one fucking wants to talk to you, dick.
Nobody.
That's how you get doo-doo in your pasta, man. That's how
how you get pasta doo-doo.
Pasta doo-doo.
Okay.
Hashtag pasta doo-doo.
So we hit the top two. What's the third? What's the third thing that you can do?
To kill yourself. No.
To destroy your channel.
I got what you meant.
It's hard to say this, but
it needs to be said. If it's hard to say, it needs to be said. We've had these moments. It's okay.
And just so we're clear, it's about contact, right?
All right. It's about contact, guys.
Oh, let's go.
Robert Loja. It's about contact.
Association.
Okay.
And we know that we have talked to people in our community. We know that if you were sitting there being slanderous towards other streamers, if you are completely nailing people across the board, if you are particular streamers who will remain nameless in this particular podcast, but we know that you have a particular community that is toxic across the board and you fully associate yourselves with them, it's highly concerned that you might not be the best audience and you're guilty by association. And I'm not saying it's across the board. It may not be all, but you're very high risk. It's the truth. And it's the only thing I can think of, because everything else, again, everything else that I mentioned before is pretty much like a dead stop, but everything else is surmountable. This is such gray area because I don't know what to think about you all of a sudden if you're going to start spitting negative and racist comments and then you're joining in and retweeting. If you're retweeting and liking and, all these things that it's like,
man,
you're not this. Like, come on,
this
and
is
that's the big one.
I talked about this today on my stream earlier, and it's it can't be said enough, in my opinion. But if you have the desire to become a content creator, you need to realize that you don't get to use it's the internet shield for your bullshit anymore.
Oh no.
People like Andy, if they want to work with you, they're going to dig through your Twitter. They're going to dig through your Facebook. They're going to dig through your Instagram. They're going to see if there are any potential vulnerabilities or problems for their company. And if they see that you made some death threat a year ago to somebody because they didn't raid your channel, they're going to be like, this guy's not okay. You need to understand and realize that your communication, whether it be public or private on the internet, is going to be representative of your character.
Yes.
And you have to maintain your integrity across all platforms, which I will admit, as an individual who has, lived that life, it's very difficult to be the same person absolutely everywhere. Yeah. And some people on the philosophical end of things would say that it's even more difficult now than it ever has been. But it doesn't matter, because if you want to prove yourself to Andy or anybody else who works as on the dev side of things that you are worth working with, you're going to show to them that you know how to manage your image everywhere.
there's a distinct difference between, all of us have that one thing that we shouldn't find funny, but we do. Whatever it is. Whether it's inappropriate.
Even I'm guilty of it.
It's because that's just being a person. Some people just they don't
keep it in private conversation.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is, let's say for some god awful fucking reason you're like, oh man, dude, dead puppy jokes are like the best. But if you just constantly retweet dead puppy jokes all the time, you're like,
Oh my God.
like, don't do that. But it's the same thing. There's some things. It's the same reason as to why typically it's weird that if we broke this rule earlier, but it's like, why don't you ever talk about politics on stream? Why don't you ever talk about religion on stream? It's because it's just something you don't talk about because it's not professional. We made a jab about something silly earlier, but like I would say that's like the epitome.
I made it very obvious.
He was being hyperbolic to like the highest degree, so it's different.
And I take full responsibility.
Yeah, we're not gonna be like, I support this candidate, because that's just a can of worms you can't close, man. Like that is your life for like 3 hours if you just talk about it. So it's the same thing, man.
It's true.
Stay safe, stay clean, and to a degree, keep your opinions to yourself. To a degree.
Absolutely. Well,
if you want to be socially,
this isn't the end all be all for all developers. Some people and some publishers just kind of again look at the numbers. They're just like, whatever. They don't really care. I know that's the truth, and it's because there's someone else behind the wheel. Yeah. But if there was somebody really digging in the way that I dig in and kind of taking the time to think about every relationship, they might make some changes.
Yeah. I feel like we've covered a lot today. And it's been intense. It's been really revealing. Yeah. But Andy, I would first of all like to say thank you very much for joining us. You have been insightful, honest, and you've honestly, in my opinion, you shared a lot more than I thought you would. So that's been great. And I would love to have you back on to kind of cover some more questions in the future, if you'd be okay with that.
Absolutely. If you'd have me, I'd be more than honored.
Certainly.
I'm blown away by you guys. I really am. I'm humbled by all this. I am scared to death of what I might have said, but I'm also kind of fearless in that same way because I'm not afraid to kind of put things out there. I think my bosses have trusted me enough to, be smart about things that I've mentioned, and I don't think that I've said anything that's incriminating or anything worry about anything. But as I always say, I beg everyone at all times to call me out on my shit. You know what I mean? If there's something that I'm not correctly conveying, get in my inbox. I want to talk about it because I can't grow if I'm not told.
Some solid feedback.
Being wrong is the best thing ever.
Great feedback.
It's true. I say all the time when I'd say something dumb about something I'm playing, and I'm like, fuck, I didn't know. And someone proves me wrong. I'm like, great. You're like, are you mad that you're wrong? I'm like, no, it means I got to learn something. I'm not going to talk out of my ass anymore. That's what that means.
Yeah. I've learned tonight that a lot of things that I took as basic assumptions about human nature and the effectiveness of communication travel all the way up to the corporate level, which is really interesting to know. I'm sure there are points of dissonance, but who gives a shit? I feel super right, and that's great. So we're going to end the podcast like we usually do. By telling everyone where you can get in contact with any single one of us. So I am Professor Broman. You can find me at twitch.tv/Professor Broman, where I stream video games. Or at Professor Broman on Twitter. And my YouTube is pointless because you're probably watching it here already.
Nailed it.
And T-Rex?
Yeah, this has been T-Rex. You can find me at twitch.tv/T-Rex, TEAWREX on Twitter. I am at the T-Rex, THE, then T-Rex spelled the same way. And my YouTube, pretty much relevant right now. Maybe in the future, good stuff, whatever. It's fine. And then, of course, this fine guy. Very cool.
I'm all blushy. My name is Andy Lunique. Again, Sandbox Strategies. For the developers and publishers in the room, you can check out our website, for information that you might need. You'll see my picture at the bottom. Anybody else who wants to find me for questions in the future, I'm doing my absolute best to answer as many as possible. I'm on holiday until Wednesday, so I might vanish for a little while, but you can find me anytime. Andy L Sandbox, Andy L_Sandbox on Twitter. Same for my Twitch. Same for anything else. My email, my contact is there. And that is about it.
Awesome. Well, from all of us here at Streaming 101, I hope you found this very revealing and interesting. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time to teach you a little bit more about Twitch. Have a great time, everybody. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
You all